And we've got audio. Perfect. Shabbat Shalom, my most esteemed friends of LVE, honorable judges, and as well as everyone accompanying us. On this kind of cloudy day of Shabbat, from the US of A, the 28th of Shevat, the last day of Shevat, the 11th month is on its way out of the year 5992 from creation, belonging to the 9th of March of 2024. We shall study another chapter of Wisdom and Discipline, Part 8, or Chokhmah and Musar, Part 8. Today we shall study a little bit. Let's see if we arrive to the text of the invitation, which is rather impressive, which it is repeated in chapters 8 and 9, but we shall continue to advance in this so marvelous a book. Without any further ado, let us seek our Elohim. Beloved Yahweh, we give you thanks for this so precious day of Shabbat. We give you thanks because you always open your book of wisdom that we may comprehend and learn, and so that all those who don't know and may want to learn wisdom may do so. I ask you that your wisdom can flood every one of us. We thank you for all this in your precious name, our only Elohim, Yahweh Sebaot, Alleluia. The Lord has blessed with one more year of life the following members of the Eternal Truth: Luis Daniel Lozano Arcia, Nicaragua; Abigail Perez Carrillo, Chile; Alexander David Solano Rojas, Venezuela; Laura Olsen, the US of A; Elian Emanuel de la Cruz, the Dominican Republic; Angelica Marisol Zoylux, Guatemala; Jocelyn Esperanza Gomez Lopez, Guatemala; Sebastián Peña, Chile; Ariel Abraham Gutierrez, Guatemala; Miriam del Socorro Lopez Gonzalez, Mexico; Juan Daniel Diaz Chica, Colombia; and Ofelia Santiago, Mexico. To each and every one of you, and for all those that have had a birthday during this week, and I did mention a great big hug on behalf of the Eternal Truth. May it be your last birthday under the government of Babylon is our wish. So many blessings to each and every one of you. I'd like to announce to you a true birth of the 4th of February. It's been already over a month. From Florencia Aurora Iraira Cortez, from Chile. Parents are Guillermo Andres Iraira Molina, and mom is Yasmin Cortez Contreras. To you as parents, many congratulations. May Yahweh bless your home, and especially after the arrival of Florencia, and Florencia is the new member of the Eternal Truth. So then welcome Florencia Aurora to this great and so special lineage. Very well, time to go out and look for the moon. This Monday, Shabbat the 30th, this following Monday, it'll be the 30th day of Shabbat, the 11th of March. As you will know, the 30th day is easy to see the moon if no one sees it, because it's cloudy to all of us. Either way, we move on to the following month. The following month of Shabbat is, after that is, which is the following month? Adar. The following month is Adar, the last month of the year. This year there won't be Adar 2. So then there will be only one Adar, the 11th month, which will be after Monday at sunset. And I'm saying it's precisely Tuesday. It begins on Tuesday, February 12th. It'll be the first of Adar. Very well. I'd like to show you a present that I received from Christian Perez. Actually, it's two, and he told me that I'm going to receive another one. I think it arrives this Monday. 2 CDs of groups I didn't know. that are rather very, very good. I love them. This one is, it's called Riverside, precisely like the place in which we live in, Riverside. And it is a band, I think it's Polish. I think it's Polish, right? Progressive metal, and it's really good. It's a dual CD. I really love this band. It's got many things, just so you understand. But progressive metal is kind of like, it's got a lots of different types of rhythms. It's kind of like it's like Pink Floyd metal. It's kind of like that. Very good. Many thanks, Christian. This band that I also didn't know, which is called Bort Naga, which I was listening to, very good. This is also a mixture of black metal with progressive metal and also a little bit of what we call folk metal. It's kind of like black metal, but more, it's a little different types of sounds and rhythms. A very good band. I loved it. It's called Bort Naga, and it is, I can't remember if it was Scandinavian or where it is, somewhere over there, from those corners of the world. And this is, it's not the last one, but it's the one previous to. It's very good. I was listening to it. Many, many thanks, Christian, for your gift. And next Shabbat, I will show when it arrives here. Farewell. I'd like to remind you that we've got a free service, which is called Angelina's Consult, to each and every one of you that understand what new Germanic medicine is, to all those that are related with this, whether you're of the eternal truth or not, or you'd like to learn what the cause is of the conflicts which we go through and how we can solve those conflicts and find what is the meaning and what things are giving us problems or conflicts rather in this life. And precisely that is what we're here for. That's what we live here for, to solve those conflicts and learn. That's what we've got, a free consult for everyone. So then if you're going through some conflict and you'd like to know what the problem is that you're not seeing in your life, then you can look in Facebook, Angelina Silva. The description is below this video, or the address of Facebook. Very well. Shemah Israel, YHWH Eloheinu, YHWH Ekhad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our Elohim, Yahweh one is. This is the base and the very principle of wisdom. No one can achieve wisdom, the biblical wisdom, that is, if this principle is not understood. Many try to have biblical wisdom by studying in universities, schools, doing different courses and other things, and they don't achieve, not even to begin to know what wisdom is, the biblical wisdom is. And when I refer to biblical wisdom, which I shouldn't even say it because it's the only wisdom there is, it's just that the terms are misunderstood with other aspects of this life, kind of wisdom. And it's rather to know certain things, but wisdom by itself, the only one that exists actually, is the wisdom that we understand, that is born, and it is in Scripture, which is the biblical wisdom. And the very principle is to understand that there's only one Elohim. He doesn't have a son. He doesn't have any co-eternal being. They weren't two or three when they created the world, and it's not well said to say they created, but when Yahweh, one alone, created, the only one there is that is available and creator, was the one that came to earth. He took on human flesh and made himself be called the Son of God, but that is all a parable, because he said that he would speak to us through and only parables. That is why the greatest parable there is the Father and the Son. But everything starts to be understood in Scripture after we understand that Shemah. Proverbs 25:2, precisely, we're studying Proverbs, well, we're in chapter 1. It is the glory of Elohim to conceal the word, yet glory of the king is to search out the word. Precisely within the book of Proverbs, we find one of the greatest proverbs that means and that says precisely that all the word of Elohim is concealed. It cannot be understood at a simple sight because it's got a hidden meaning, and only the kings that will be the true wise men are the ones that can understand it. It does not mean that if you don't understand it, it's no good for you. It will help you in many aspects. But to understand it, precisely what it says in the scriptures, that is only for the kings. That is why we've got the text of Proverbs. And all the rest of the earth will say, where it says in Jeremiah 16:19 through 21, Nakar Kalonga version, and it says precisely, first is said by the bride, and then what the people say, Yahweh, my strength and my stronghold, those are the kings speaking, a refuge in the day of tribulation. Unto thee shall come the peoples from the ends of the earth, and shall say, only lies was the inheritance of our fathers, vanity to which there's no avail. If it is men that makes himself gods, then they're not gods. The whole situation of this text is the created lies, which is vanity, about the gods. Because the whole world, if it is men that makes himself gods, how does he make himself gods? Starting with wrong interpretation of the scriptures. That is what those that don't follow the scriptures don't even have an idea of who God is, but those who follow the scriptures don't interpret them correctly, so then they're not gods. If it is men that makes themselves gods, then they're not gods. That's why, behold, I shall make it be known unto them. This time I shall show them the strength of mine arm, and they shall know that my name is Yahweh. Precisely here is the secret that the whole world in the future will understand, that Yahweh is one alone. That Yahweh is not two, it's not three, but rather it is one sole creator, one sole person that came to earth. It was Yahweh himself. It cannot be, he played a role, but it cannot be the Christ, the Mashiach. That will be fulfilled by someone else. And in this case, when we read the scriptures, it is a group of people. It is not another being, individual to him. It's another being. Then there is a plurality there, but where there is no pluralness is in Yahweh, Ekhad. And everyone will have to accept and admit that Yahweh is one alone. And here we have the shark. He's still here, the shark. Let's find him. He is covered with the beautiful flowers, which are tulipans, right? What are they? Tulipans? Where? Okay. Kind of covered up. Well, here it is. What else are we going to do with these? We have the shark right there as a protest and the symbol of a protest, to which we add ourselves, although we understand what the text means. Of Malachi 2:17, ye have we read Yahweh with your words, and ye say, what have we read him? And that ye say, whomever doth evil pleaseth Yahweh, and in such he delighteth, or else, where is the Elohim of justice? We clearly know that the answer to this question, where is the Elohim of justice, is precisely the beginning of the Messiah. So then when this text is understood, the answer to this text, where is the Elohim of justice? Elohim sends the Messiah. It's just that the Messiah is a group of people that have to be trained, that have to get to a certain height, and at some point in time, they will be the Savior of this world. When will this take place? Well, the time is being shortened. We're almost 6,000 years from creation, and this should be happening before the 7th millennium. So then we have very few years left. This, with lots of other things that we've already talked about and you already know about, it could be drastically reduced, that time, to whatever time starting from now. That is why we are in a school that we call the school of the Mashiach, or the school of the Messiah, where we learn what wisdom is, where we learn how we should act for all those that would like to listen, of course. Invitational text with this beautiful picture that Leslie put up, which she put up the Argentinian flag, and if we would have to choose in the future some sort of flag that represents the eternal truth, there's no other color that's more beautiful than the colors that the Argentinian flag has, which are blue and white, which represents the sky, represents power. The sky is power, and the white, which represents justice, let's put it that way, or purity, and the sun. Only one sun. How many suns? Only one. So then in the Argentinian flag, actually, there are many symbols, and maybe even the ones that created the flag didn't know. But Yahweh always makes things be done that way, and the people don't even know what they do nor why they do it. Not even the prophets that wrote the scriptures know it, but the Argentinian flag is, in my point of view, and not because I'm Argentinian, is the most beautiful flag there is. It doesn't have red because red means blood, and we don't want any more blood. It's already been poured out enough, and so that we don't want anything to have the color red. If we were to choose during the new millennium a flag that has red, it would mean that there will still be blood, and blood reminds us of death and pain, and we really don't want to base the government, the new government, in blood or pain or anything that has to do with that. The blue and white flag is rather fabulous and spectacular for that same reason, which are not dumb. The beast or Israel also got a blue and green, although the blue is kind of darker. It's not celeste. It represents the sky, and the white, and they added the Star of David, which doesn't bother me in itself as a symbol, but it does bother me that they adopted it as their symbol. That is the only thing that bothers me. Then the rest of the 6 points doesn't bother me at all. For me, it's a very perfect symbol. The star, what they call the Star of Solomon, which is not, but either way, the symbol itself does not bother me. What bothers me is who took over that symbol, but the flag is practically the same. So then if we would have to choose a flag, I would be inclined for a flag with the characteristics that the Argentinian flag has. Only one God, which is the sun, and the sky in purity and justice. And I loved the picture that Leslie put up. She put the eternal truth on there, and she added some of the verses of the Argentinian flag. Let the laurels be eternal that we knew how to achieve, crowned with glory. Let's live it spectacular. If we were to have to put up an anthem, a national anthem of the Messiah, we would take many things from the Argentinian national anthem, because the rest of the national anthems of the rest of the countries are not representative of what liberty represents, and like a clear objective of what the liberty of the peoples mean, and that this group will live crowned with glory forever. Why? Because they achieved a victory, and those laurels are eternal. No one can take them away. So then they really have a very inspired anthem. And the sun is gold. So then we've got blue and gold, or a derivative of gold, which is the celeste. Oh yeah, it came from there. Yeah, exactly. It is the box of the map. Spectacular. It is the box that was given to us by Julio and Carolina. Yeah, spectacular. Rather spectacular. Very well. The text of the invitation that accompanies this beautiful picture, it says wisdom, YHWH, makes her voice be heard in the streets. She cries out in the public square. We shall study this once we arrive to that text. We shall see, first of all, the questions that you have asked me during this week, and I invite each and every one of you, without any type of margins or embarrassment, that you can ask me the necessary questions that you'd like to know, that if I can answer, I will do so in an anonymous manner. No one will find out who's asking, but if it's possible, you'll be satisfied with your question, and also others will be left satisfied because they've got similar doubts. So then you can write me to my Facebook, and I will read in an anonymous manner. I hope so, and I'll try to answer it in the best way possible. Farewell. Let us read. This week I have very few questions, only 4 this week, and let us begin by reading this. Let us begin with Wisdom and Discipline, Part 8. 1. I've always felt rejection towards the cremation of the dead, maybe of what we know about fire in life. Obviously, I know that flesh is flesh, but what do I know? I feel certain rejection. Is there something biblical as in regards to it? Do you have any opinion, Christian? A phenomenal hug, spectacular subject. I've talked about this many times, but since this is the section of the questions, it's important for me to answer it again. Biblically speaking, I'm going to say what biblically speaking it is not contemplated to get rid of a cadaver, a body, through fire, but that's biblically speaking. The Jews say, telling you the context, or the Jewish religion says that if somebody's cremated, that person loses eternal life forever. Since it is a very difficult concept of theirs to understand directly, they reject it by saying somebody's cremated, also their soul's cremated. It has nothing to do with this, absolutely. And according to them, the 6 million, that you already understand, the 6 million, their souls were lost. So then whether they wanted or not, that's where they ended up. Whether that exists or not, there's no need for me to clarify that, my opinion about it, but it's a grave problem they have. My personal opinion is that, I have a bit of a rejection towards that. When my dad died, he was cremated, and my mom has him with her. I don't know if now she still has him, but either way, I believe that the last thing that I know, she had him there, and it's a rejection there. Now, although biblically speaking, the dead have to end up in the earth, that does not mean that something may take place during resurrection if you're cremated or eaten by an animal, or if you drowned and disappeared in the ocean. Well, he was also eaten by the fish, everything was rotten or pulverized or burned. Biblically speaking, there's no different whatsoever, because it says that in the resurrection, the sea returns its dead, and the graves returns its dead. No matter where it's at, no matter what happened, they returned. Now, I know that, for example, here in the U.S., to bury someone is very expensive, extremely expensive. We're talking about not a decision of choice, but also of necessity. So then, if we're talking about, let me put up an example. We're talking about if a person dies here in the U.S., and it's between the burial and all the requisites that you have to pay for, and then a place, and then month by month or whatever. I don't know. It's like $10,000 or $20,000. That's all I say, which is such a fortune for many that don't live here in the U.S. And it's a fortune for even people that do live here in the U.S. Also, what happens if in an accident 3 of the family die? It's so expensive because there's not so many spaces. Cemeteries are expensive, and you have to acquire a place or buy a place or rent a place and to pay month by month. Wow, it is so expensive. It is easier and a lot more cheaper. In $2,000, $5,000, a little bit more cremation. And if you don't have help, maybe somebody can help you. And cremation is a lot more economic. So then, what is it that we should do? Tell the truth. It's either way the same thing. I know that maybe I feel a bit of aberration, or like he was saying, a rejection towards the cremation, but either way it's the same thing, because in resurrection I understand clearly that we don't need the particles or the bone or whatever it was of that human being. The soul, in my point of view, it's not applied in Scripture, none whatsoever. In fact, the Scripture does know, that Psalm does know, no one knows. But the souls is what is kept, per se, in a box, and with the soul, the one that will resurrect has the power to resurrect, receives the key of the abyss, like Revelation says, has power to create a physical body and to add the soul of a person that is kept there with their remembrances and all the rest back there. For us, humanly speaking, resurrection is something impossible. It's just like that. Impossible. Humanly speaking, if we think about it with logic, there is no way that resurrection may exist. In the Bible, resurrection doesn't... You're going to say, no, but Elijah and all the biblical resurrections, they take place with the body almost warm. The one that's a little past is that of Lazarus, 4 days dead, but there's no resurrection that talks about 200 years dead. It doesn't exist, not in the whole Bible. The longest, 4 days. That was there. The body was there. So then the very same body resurrects again. Yeshua, 3 days dead. So then there's no example in Scriptures of a person that's dead, rotten, made dust, with bones or without bones, that says, and here they resurrected. No, there's no case like that. I understand that you may imagine that when Yeshua resurrected, it says that many resurrected. I know that that's in your mind, many resurrected. Well, we have to see about that. We have to see about that. Who actually resurrected and who was the one that resurrected? And it says that they appeared in Jerusalem. That must have been, I'm going to leave that aside, because it's only mentioned once, that there was many resurrections. Also, Paul mentions it. Actually, that is an act that is kind of like a story told by someone. Doesn't matter. I personally believe in resurrection, but the resurrection is based in a soul. That soul is kept in some place. We don't understand it, but it's kind of like the operating system with all the pictures, the memory, the whole story of something that you have kept in your computer. And that we don't need any physical matter, not to get together once again. You don't need anything. No one knows how anything works. The doctors don't even know how memory works, but they're going to tell you that neurons can keep the memory, but nobody can read that. Because if it were so that it is kept there, kind of like in a pen drive, then we could read it in a different place. Dead, and they plug it in, they can read the information. They can't read it, they can never read it again. So then where is that information? Is it in the physical brain? Is that where it was kept? Or actually we have some sort of avatar? We don't know. What am I referring to with an avatar? I'm referring to something very transcendental, very particularly fantasious, or in a terrain that's very... I missed the word. I always miss that word. Speculative. That it could be that all the consciousness and the memory and everything that we have simultaneously actually is somewhere else. That it is in the hands of Elohim that created. He has them all there, and from there it is projected to us. It could be, you can't tell me that it's not. I can also not say that that is it, but I'm making it be understood in some way or another. So then all that we are is simultaneous here and in a different place. So then the consciousness of ours, that one can understand what the consciousness is, understanding what we are, in conjunction with memories, our capacity to reason, and all the rest, it is actually being kept, or it proceeds from a different place. We are just a reflection of what takes place in a different place. So then our body and everything that takes place actually is nothing. It is what is in a different place. There's a reason why Yeshua said, who was Yahweh on earth. He said, for Yahweh, for Elohim, the dead are not dead, but are alive. Which means is that for him, at his level, what he has designed and understands, death actually does not exist. What exists is that we unplug from that body. We could be a type of an avatar like that. Yeah, we could clearly be like that without any room for doubt, that everything that is ours be kept on a permanent basis, or it may proceed from different places, and we're only that reflection. Could it be so? It could be so. It could be a little bit different. It could be a little bit different too. But either way, during the resurrection that I do believe in, the body exactly, or the body that we have does not matter, but it's everything that we are, which is our personality, which is our memories. For me, we are a memory. That soul is a soul with memories, which is the only thing that makes us different. The day that they delete that memory, we stop being who we are, because if we don't remember anything, nor what we did, nor what we lived, or anything, we're a different person. We have to learn everything again. Kind of like if our soul is blank. So then it's a complex answer, but the answer to this question doesn't matter if we're cremated or buried. Doesn't matter. Whether it's shocking for us, which is shocking to me, to the concept of being cremated, doesn't matter. What do I have to say about that? That you can do whatever you have enough in your pocket for, just like that, whatever you have enough in your pocket for. There's nothing spiritual here. It will not be used. Those bones will not be used, even if they are there. They won't be used. Very well. 2. Hello, Christian. I'd like to thank you for all the instruction that you give us every Shabbat. I would also like to ask you a question. As it turns out, I was during a chat with some friends that are a couple. In some point of the chat, the woman is asking him, why does he not help out with the kids or in the tasks? She started to reprehend him, and that he never makes time. The husband answers that he's too busy at work and that he is too tired when he gets home from work. He also says that she has more time for her son and that she could do it alone, and that he cannot get away from the work, and she wants to get separated from him because of that situation. I heard that situation, and I was accommodated because I lived something like that when I was a child, and my parents separated and they abandoned me, and I had to make myself responsible even being a child. The question is, how should the father act and the mother before this situation, or how would be the correct way of acting? I'd like to know, because why in some future I'd like to be a father and I don't want to make the same mistakes that my parents made. Many thanks, Christian, and I hope that you can answer me, please. Well, this question is complicated, and if I take a long time during this answer, it's going to take almost all of today's subject. How to be a father, how to be a mother. How difficult, right? Very difficult. It is very difficult because of the situation in which we live in. If I were to tell you, no, the father has to come from work, and he has to help the mother, he has to do a whole bunch of things. Or if I were to tell you, no, the father, when he comes home from work, he's already done what he wants, and whatever he wants to do at home is just rest his mind, and just watch TV, not do anything, or listen some study, or wants to watch soccer. The least thing he wants to do is to do something about his children. The 2 points of view are valid. What do you want me to tell you? I cannot say no. The father has to get dead from work. Like, yes, he gets home from work and have to say, what can I help you in? Because I worked all day and I'm willing to help you. If I were to teach you that, I would also be wrong. It's all a common sense that the couple has to have. Common sense, the wife has to know that the major part of the bringing up of the children, it depends on her, not of the father. That's obvious. Well, I don't know if it's obvious, but I'm teaching that to you. The greater part of the bringing up of the children, especially when they're children, is of the mother. It is a spectacular work, of course. It is tiring and it makes them old. But that job corresponds to the mother and the father. It's corresponding for him to provide anything, a house, money for food, and shelter. He has to provide that. Lately, what happens in the world is that the men can't even provide that. So then, he also has to ask the mother to go out and work, to help to provide something that he alone should provide. If this world were to work, in this 6,000 years, it's always worked that way. Man provides that, and the woman provides the teaching, the cleansing of the house. She's the queen of the house. She fixes. It's not that she fixes, because sometimes the man has to fix, but she provides the cleansing, the food for the house to look nice, in that whole ambient. And the education of the children during the 6,000 years doesn't mean that this will always be this way. And I'm not saying that it will be like this in the new earth. No, not at all. I'm saying how it's worked up until now during this 6,000 years. Lately, and always with all the limitations, because there are very few husbands that have provided all the basic necessities. There's always been necessities, misery. They wanted to have a bigger house and didn't have enough, or they didn't even have a house. All those things have taken place during this world, but as a general task, just so you understand in my words and you don't misunderstand them, as a general task, the man should provide everything. And the woman should take care of the house and the education of the children. That is. And it's not that I agree with that. I'm saying that it works that way, and I'm saying that it's worked that way always doesn't mean that the woman can't sometimes help in the task of taking care of the house, of fixing things around the house, and for the husband also to help in things that are supposedly the woman's task. There could be an interaction. I'm saying that there's a pattern, and that once the husband provides, he says, I'm not going to do anything else. I'm not going to help you at all. You're going to make the food, you're going to clean everything, you're going to educate our son and do everything that you have to do, and I will not cross the barrier of housework. No, I'm not teaching that. I'm saying that there's an interaction. The husband can learn to cook, can do very delicious things. Doesn't mean that it's the task of the husband. I want to make that very clear. Because if the husband has to do the task of cooking, the things are already kind of crossed there. I'm not getting into if it works that way, it works that way, but it's not the norm. It's not the norm, I'm going to say, of these 6,000 years. How it'll be later, I don't know. Don't ask me, I could care less. Well, it does care for me, but nobody asked me, and also I cannot answer how it'll be in the future. But how it functions normally, the husband can interact. He can help to cleanse and clean the house. Yes, of course he can. He sees the wife tired. He wants to help her a little bit. Then he can help her cleanse. Is it the task of the husband to cleanse? No, it is not. Just like that, directly, it is not. Someone tell me, no, my husband cleanses everything. He doesn't let me touch anything. I do everything. Things are kind of crossed there. They're kind of crossed. But if it works, also I'm not going to get into that. But there is nothing that says man should not clean. No, the man can help clean. So that the man has a good will and he wants for his wife to be a little longer free for him. So then I come dressed a little bit. For example, it's not that I don't do anything. And I help you clean. What do you need, my dear? I'll help you. So then that is the interaction that I'm talking about. It's in team, the interaction, even if it's not the primordial tasks that he should do. How beautiful it is for a man to tell his wife, what can I help you in? And for her to say, oh, I needed to do this, and the man can do it. If he has to make the food, he does it. He has to wash the dishes or wash the plates, as you say, if he has to sweep, he does it, and all those types of things. He does not have the obligation, per se, I don't know if I'm teaching this clearly, correctly, so that you understand it. But how beautiful it is to do things around this union, this empress that is matrimony. So then, even if there is different tasks between man and woman, they could be crossed a bit. That interaction is what's beautiful in matrimony. Now, the teaching of the children, the best one for this is the mother. It is so, I know that there are mothers that are not right for this, and so then the father has to take on that task. And if it works that way, well, it works that way. But what the norm is the most correct way is for the mother to teach the children. So then the mother works the normal days of the day where the child is at school, because the father works from 7 a.m., just an example, 7 to 3, and when he gets home, the kids should have already studied. I'm not saying to take them to school, and if he has to take them to school, the mother can take them, the mother goes get them, those types of things. Now, if they study at home, the father cannot do that, unless the mother is the one that is there. She works outside and the roles are crossed. The mother is the one that brings the food, and the father has to do the role of the mother. It's kind of crossed there, but if it works that way, I'm not going to get into that. If it works, why should I get into that? To change your life? No, I could care less. But the normal parameters, man is the one that has the highest testosterone, is the one that goes out to hunt, per se. He goes out to hunt the prey. In ancient times, there was no company to work in, so then what did man do? He had to go out and work, either take care of animals or plant things or go and kill animals. So then the man says, look, I brought this today. So then that was the work of the man. The woman is to stay home and to take care of her own. That was the work of the woman. That is in remote times. For example, Jacob and Esau. Jacob had the personality more of a woman in that aspect. He would stay and he would cook, and Esau was the one that would go and hunt. Do you see that it would be, they're kind of cross the personalities right there. Jacob had to learn to go out, because once he left, escaped, because of that treason and deceit, he had to learn from his uncle to take care of the sheep, to hunt, to go out, and he married a woman that it was 2 later than it was 4. But the one that would go out and work, it was him. The one that would go out and work, it was him. You see this, right? Something that apparently he didn't do before. The roles were crossed. So then, this question, they tell me, are we willing to get separated? Then you don't understand what home is. Man, I'm talking to men here. Man, I'm talking men. Man has to have the will to help his wife. A man has to know how to cook. He cannot depend on just eating delicious only if the woman cooks. He has to know how to cook to help his lineage. And also has to know how to clean. I'm not saying that it's his main task, but he can help clean. He also has to know how to educate his children. When he has to educate them, he has to learn. It's not his main task, but he has to teach education and to learn how to do that. The woman has to know, and I speak to women, the woman has to know that when a man goes to work outside, and when he comes home, actually he comes back home in a bad mood, tired, and the least thing he wants is for you to cause trouble. An intelligent woman sees her husband come home and she doesn't throw 500 problems against the husband, or else the husband does not want to go home. He says, no, I'm going to go to the bar and drink with my friends, because instead of being with this witch, because he comes home and says, this happened, this was broken, help me here, help me there, I'm hysterical, this happened. The last thing he wants is to hear problems. And the more he hears, the most thing that he hears are problems when he gets home. So then I'm talking to women now. You want to have a happy husband? As soon as he gets home, don't cause any problems. Yes, you have to be very happy that your husband, your macho, your provider, arrived home. And you have to treat him like a king that arrived home. Now, when he already settled in, it could be that you can tell him about certain needs or things that have taken place if they are necessary, but don't fill him with problems. The husband doesn't come home to look for problems, he comes home to his oasis, and generally he finds hell, not an oasis. He finds a woman yelling, hysterical, with the children, doing whatever. Oh, this when this happened, and this and this, and the husband doesn't want to listen to that. So then it's the responsibility of the woman to keep the kids under control. And this is discipline. I see in Latin America, as here, especially not in Argentina, though, I've seen this with a lot less frequency, way less frequency. At least in the generation that I was brought up in, because now maybe the generations are different in Argentina. The generation that I was brought up in, these roles were very marked. Man would go out work, and when he would come home, the woman would not bring all kinds of problems. I wasn't brought up that way. When I married my wife, she was very different. She was in the form that I tell you. She would never, when I would come home, she would never bring me with problems. It was like coming to a gathering that was expected, not something that's like, oh, no, it wasn't so. The children, she brought them up in a way that when I would come home, it was not chaos here. No, there was order here. So then it is exactly misdiscipline of the woman that when the husband gets home, for the children to be a disaster, they're dirty, they're running around. That is misdiscipline of the woman. It happens that one thing leads to another. When one makes mistakes, everything becomes a chaos. If you were to have a more orderly life, that chaos would not be in your life. And sometimes you blame the other because he says you don't help me, the children are a disaster. No, woman. Put the batteries on and make them to work for you. That's what happens with women. They don't know how to organize themselves and delegate. One has to keep her house clean always. Not, oh, I'm going to clean. No, always. Always. A house to be clean and orderly. She makes the food and she washes everything immediately. Not just washes, but puts away. I get home and I see a kitchen that's all dirty with the dirty plates and all the plates and everything. It talks about the woman so badly. Listen to me well. Speaks so badly of the woman, and you say, poor woman, she lives in hell because she fabricates that hell. If little details start to be adjusted in the life of the people, everything starts to work in a way that it would seem that it's well oiled and the machinery works nicely, but when it is functioned incorrectly from the very beginning, everything functions incorrectly. In my house, disorder, there was never there. Never. There was. And when I say my house, I mean this house. Leslie always kept everything in order. She wasn't waiting for me to get home and to put the kids in order or the disaster of the house. No. So when the husband gets home and he knows that the woman has the house radiant. How many of you, for example, this one, the friend, or this individual writes to me that saw in a family of that couple, I ask you, what does the woman do to keep everything in order? Because when I see disorder all day being there trying to order and the people disorder things, I see things, and I've seen this in all the Latin Americans of these places. They allow people to eat in the couches that kids eat there. How the fuck can you think about doing that? A child should not eat anywhere else unless it's in the table and under the authorization of the mother. Of course, since they're little, they kick you and they hit you, they hit the mother. What control are you going to have? The thing is that the women don't have control. How beautiful is to teach discipline to the children. Look, here, you don't, if you open a candy, and if I allowed you to eat candy, they eat a candy, the wrapper goes directly into the garbage can. If it doesn't go there, the one that has to pick that up is the child, not the mother. So then everything works that way. If you bring something out, you put it back in. I mean, that's something that you should learn. And when everything is harmonious that way, the children learn to cooperate since they're little. So then it is a beauty. It is a beauty because you go to the rooms of the children and it's orderly because the children put it in order because of the mother. How do you achieve that? By teaching the kids to put things in order. That's why there are so many things of discipline. Discipline. What do you mean? You have your socks on the floor, then the mother has to be picking everything up, picking up after them, everything dirty. Who is to blame if the child is all dirty of the child or the one that feeds him? The mother. The mother is to blame. So then the mother, since she just has no organization, it's all a chaos, and that chaos is what the husband gets to, and then she says, "Come help me, you son of a bitch," because they have no control. She can't control her small kingdom. How is she going to reign? A woman has to control her kingdom strictly, but not strictly by hitting. Not that, because once you teach the children, everything works well with joy, not by yelling, because the children like to help. The children, I've seen in my own home, that the children cast something on the floor and the woman goes after them to cleanse. No, make the child cleanse it, and you tell them, don't do that. Next time you do that, you won't eat. Just an example. Just an example. So you value what you have. Everything falls from their hand. They break everything. What do you mean? And that house is a chaos. Yelling. You should never allow the children to yell. I hear yelling. I want to grab the parents from their neck because they don't teach their children. So that whole problem in the house, that chaos, the husband receives it and he doesn't ever want to come back home. He wants to go with a prostitute to treat him. Why does he go with a prostitute per se? Even just so you understand, is that home? He does not want a mother. A husband does not want a mother. He wants a female, a sexy female. If the mother comes and sees her cleansing with a baby right there sucking on her tit, just with whatever. You think the husband wants that? He says, "No, my husband doesn't want me." I'm speaking to the women. You think a husband wants to see that? No, a husband wants to see a sexy woman. Just like that, sexy. No matter if you're kind of chunky, that doesn't matter. Your husband likes the way you are as long as he takes care of you. When you just let yourself go. There's nothing sexy in a mother unless you see a mother that's sexy, well dressed, and that she feeds her baby. It's a lot more sexy than just some lady there with just yelling and with such anger inside and frustration. And the husband comes home and he says, that lady like that, and says, "Ah, no, I'm going to go with someone else that speaks to me with perfume." Women make the difference. Did you know that women have the capacity of ruling and guiding a home? They put that on the husband when it's the woman. It's the woman what should make the home beautiful. It is. Remember this, women. Completely. Completely, they destroy it. The woman is the soul and the queen, and how a home functions, not because of the man. It is the woman. So then, since you don't know how to organize yourself, since it's all a chaos, we get to this problem, and the husband comes and says, "You have to help me." No, but why? If we could organize yourselves, the secret is there.
Yo sé que pasarse de rosca, porque hay algunas que son tan estrictas y tan limpias que ya
right, this is not the case that they're telling me. Right, that where the woman is way too strict, as Leslie's saying, it's not the case. There has to be a balance. Yes, of course. The extremes are absolutely bad. Yeah, nefarious, of course. But the one that guides everything at home where it's headed is the woman. I'll tell you right now, that is why the man looks for something that attracts him. And I hope I have been clear in the answer. The answer is had by the women. Do it for yourselves. Do it for yourselves. But of course, every small detail is another type. If that does not work, then everything else is broken. The education of the children is extremely vital in order for a home to be marvelous, for them to be orderly, for them to have discipline to eat, not when they want to. When a child wants to eat, you don't feed them. You tell them when the mother says, and you know that is the custom, and then they respect that. And they respect that if you say, no, they eat whenever. That is your fault. You're the mother that feeds them whenever. They will do. We are your reflection. Your mental disorder is reflected at home. That mental disorder is reflected at home. The woman can do and make of her house actually an oasis, a palace, something that is beautiful to live in on a permanent basis. And when she cleanses, it is to just go over something, just touching up on the cleansing. Because in these places, I've seen and I've gone into houses which are rather terrifying. And of course, the husband needs to help her, and the neighbor, and the lover, and the whole congregation of the church to help her, because she is the disorder. But what is the problem? That the husband needs the help? No, the problem is she. She is the problem. That she doesn't do what she has to do in the manner that she should do. I told you that it was a very difficult and long subject. But it's discipline. It is discipline. Of course, if you don't learn that, which is basic, how are you going to order the world, which is an enormous house, multiple house? How are you going to order the world? It would all be a disorder if your house is a disorder, the whole world will be a disorder too. You need people that know what you have to do, and that you work in conjunction, Now go to the husband. The husband has to monetarily and economically keep his house. He has to break his back to keep his house on. Now, if the husband can keep his house and the woman can keep her kingdom looking beautiful, then they have a couple that will not look for a third. Yes, a couple that respect each other mutually, and a happy couple. That's the way it is. That is the secret in the aspect of this question. If they get separated, it's because they really didn't learn anything in this life, and it was living didn't help them, because the woman, from her point of view, looks at him and says, "No, I want him to help me." Actually, a woman does not need help. A woman does everything clean. She has to continue to order and just retouching. The thing is, when she needs help, is when everything's out of control, when the whole house is a disaster. There, she needs a lot of help. And psychologically also, psychological help. But when the house is orderly, and those that live with her help to keep the order, then it's all a paradise. It's all a paradise. If the kids get dirty, then of course, that's impossible. No. You failed in the education. It is possible for the children to help. And without being extreme, like Leslie says, which is very important. I had an aunt. Oh, my. I'm just telling them about my aunt. My aunt. In Argentina, it is in the most extreme side than of the dirt that we see here. To tell the truth, being sincere, in Argentina, the women have their house a lot better taken care of than the ones that you have here, the Latin Americans. Okay, here it is a complete disaster. I'm being sincere. Yeah, if you're an extreme, it could create a problem. My aunt, you couldn't enter into her house if it was it's not. It was like ceramic or something in the floors. You had to granite. You could not take granite. You couldn't You couldn't take your foot out
No podías sacar
from
el
the skates.
pie
You had to skate.
del patín. No podías sacar el pie del patín, tenías que ir patinando.
Careful how you would see things or touch them. If you would move
Ni tocar.
a chair, as soon as you left there, you had to put it back in. Then it's kind of like they look at you and it's like, I'm waiting for you to leave. That's an extreme.
Eso es un extremo.
My cousins, they were accustomed to that. They were orderly.
Se acostumbraron de
Yes,
chiquitos.
yes.
Ellos eran ordenados.
Oh, you saw that. Yes, yes. Super clean.
Sí, sí. Súper limpio.
Yes, of course, that is an extreme. And it's more beautiful than a disorderly home? Yes.
Que se ve más limpio.
Yes, I know. I understand. But that is discipline and not an extreme discipline, but what we're talking about here of just keeping things nice. When the husband comes home, he doesn't see what the worst thing that the husband sees when he comes home. I'm telling you, women, is a dirty home. The kitchen filled with dirty plates, that is nauseous. How beautiful it is to go into a house and to see everything clean. The woman has to be accustomed to clean and cook and put things away. And when she's doing the last adjustments of the food that she's making, everything that she used to cook has to already be cleansed and put away. Out of discipline, who does that? Who of you women do that? And they just end up, after eating, she can ask the kids to help her. Brian and Angelina were brought up by cleaning up after themselves. Everything that they used generally, even though the roles could be exchanged, Angelina would wash and Brian would dry and put away. Wasn't it so, Brian? Every day. Every day, as long as I would stay with Leslie chatting, what a pleasure it was to see the kids working for you, the kids. How many of you practice that? And you couldn't leave their house from the kitchen until everything would look like nothing were ate there, just like that. The father and the mother, they chat and they see their children from 4 years cleansing. How beautiful is that? Is that practice in your house? For example, in Hades' house, is that practice? Don't tell me you're gonna lie. Don't tell me you're gonna lie to me. You say yes, and I go to your house. Don't tell me. No, don't tell me anything. Don't tell me anything, because that is not just once. That's not just once. It's always, every day. They would wash every day, or not every day. Every day, not just a section. If they said yes, my son washes when 3 months ago. No, every day, it is their responsibility to wash and put away. That is the only thing I will accept. So then the woman, I'll read this. I mean, what a disaster. Don't even speak about sex. I mean, imagine about sex. So then, to the question, the one that I cared about the most, care about knowing, because in some future I want to be a father. You already know, it is discipline, education of both the mother and the father. And I have a lot more to speak about that. But it'll take a long time. Very well, three. It is not, the comforter is not clear to me. That's because you don't watch the subjects many times. Is not Yahweh comforter according to Isaiah? And he quotes Isaiah 51:12. I am your comforter. Who art thou that you are fearful of man that is mortal, and the son of man that is kind of like, hey, wow. First of all, it's a good question, but it's things that are very different. The comforter in the New Testament, the 5 texts that I quoted, the word is not comforter, but it is parakletos, and the word in Greek parakletos means defender. In any case, defender and intercessor, but never comforter. Now that it was translated as comforter, because the translators thought it'd be better, that's very different. So then, already, that has to be clear. Parakletos does not mean comforter, even though you read it in your Bible, that the comforter, no, it's not the comforter. It is the defender, that one that comes, not the comforter. Not Yahweh saying that he is a comforter. Actually, is he saying that the word in Hebrew,
realmente está diciendo eso. La palabra
it is
en
the
hebreo
H5162
es el
in the the Strong's Dictionary,
H5162 del
which
diccionario
is the word
Strong,
nakam.
que es la
The word
palabra
nakam. And what does
La
nakam
palabra
mean? I've always said, and I repeat this again, Hebrew, it is a
y lo vuelvo a repetir, el
very
hebreo es
primitive
un
language,
idioma
so as to not use
muy
another word, very
por no usar
basic.
otra palabra. Es
And
muy
actually,
básico.
the word
Y
nakam could be
realmente
translated
la
as
palabra
many different
najam
things as
puede
also as to
traducirse
repent.
como muchas cosas, como
Nakam
arrepentirse también.
primary root is to
Najam, raíz primaria,
breathe
propiamente suspirar,
strongly,
respirar
to
fuertemente,
lament,
que implica lamentar,
or
en
also
un sentido
to
favorable,
console, to
compadecer,
lament,
consolar,
to
lamentarse,
avenge,
vengar
to
o
take
vengarse,
vengeance,
aliento,
to
aliviar,
appease, repentance. Every
aplacar,
time that says Yahweh repented of
arrepentimiento.
making man,
Cada
or
vez que
Yahweh
dice Yahweh se arrepintió de
repented,
Jerusalén,
it
por
uses
ejemplo,
this word.
Yahweh se
How could it
arrepintió,
be
usa
that this word
esta misma
is
palabra.
used
¿Cómo
for
puede ser que esta
repenting,
palabra
for
sirva para
lamenting, or to
arrepentirse,
console?
para lamentarse,
I mean,
o
it
para
is
consolarse?
antonyms.
Pero son,
What do you mean to repent?
antónimos. ¿Cómo
To
arrepentirse?
repentance, to repent, to
Arrepentimiento,
attenue,
arrepentirse,
also to
atenuar,
punish. Same
castigar,
word,
para
nakam.
castigo.
I'll repeat this again. The
Najam.
Hebrew language is part
Vuelvo a
of the
repetir,
parable.
el idioma
It
hebreo
is a language
es
that's
parte
so
de la
stupid,
palabra. Es
so
un idioma
idiotic,
tan
so
estúpido,
basic dog
tan
shit.
idiota,
It is a
tan
language
básico de
that
mierda.
makes me
Es un
get so
idioma que
upset,
le
and
causa
it's
todo
nauseous to me.
fastidio.
In the Messianic, they want to
Y
learn
para los
Hebrew, and when
mesiánicos
speaking Hebrew,
quieren
they think
aprender
that their brain
hebreo, quieren
Hebrew,
hablar
God
hebreo,
listens
piensan
to
que
them
si
better.
hablan en hebreo, Dios los escucha
These ignorant fools, they don't see that Hebrew
los
is one of
ignorantes.
the
Y se
worst
dan cuenta que el
languages
hebreo
that
es uno de los peores lenguajes que existen. Una palabra significa una cantidad de cosas. Eso no me sirve a mí. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué le sirvió Elohim? Y le sirvió para encubrir. Mientras menos una palabra
word
10.000
means a whole
cosas,
quantity
dice,
of things.
dale,
That is
dale,
not
te lo
good to
pongo
me.
ahí, tomá lo que
Why?
quieras.
Why was it good for
Podría
Elohim? It
decir,
helped them to conceal.
yo no me,
Well,
podría
if
decir
one
que
word
diga, no
is
es
like 10,000 things,
no
he
es
says,
Yahweh
fix it. I'm going to put it
nuestro
there. Deal with
arrepentidor.
it,
Sí,
he
podría
says.
decir eso.
But
No
I
es
could say
Yahweh nuestro
that it says it is not.
castigador.
It's not
Sí,
Yahweh,
supuestamente podría decir eso y nadie puede
our
hacer nada.
repenter. Yeah, I
Porque
could
la
say
palabra
that.
se usa para
Is
castigar.
Yahweh not our
Entonces, para consolar o castigar
punisher?
son dos cosas
Yeah, perfectly
diferentes,
well. It could say no one can ever
opuestas.
say a thing because the word is used to punish
Interpretar, dice,
also.
interpretar, la que te
So
guste
to
más.
console or
Le
punish,
ponemos
it's two different
consolador, le
things.
ponemos
And
castigador, le
opposite.
ponemos arrepentidor,
Just interpret. Just
le
interpret
ponemos
whatever you like the most. We could make him a counselor or a punisher or
consuelo,
repenter,
misericordia.
or we can say
¿Qué es entonces?
also
¿Qué es Yahweh?
satisfaction,
Bueno, para leer el contexto,
counseling,
leyendo el
mercy.
contexto,
What
nos
is it
damos
then?
cuenta
What is
de
Yahweh?
que sí podría ser,
Well,
en este
in order
caso,
to read the
consolador,
concept,
porque no va a ser nuestro
by reading the
castigador.
concept, we see
Está hablando cosas positivas, pero
that
vuelvo a
it could
repetir,
be, in this
el
case, a
hebreo es un
comforter,
idioma asqueroso.
because it will not be your punisher when
Le voy a leer
it's
el
talking
contexto.
about positive
Isaías
things. But I'll repeat this again.
51,
Hebrew is
11 al 15,
a
en la
filthy
Jerusalén
language. I want to make that very clear. I'm going to give you the context. Isaiah 51, 11 through 15, in the
que no
Jerusalem
tiene nada que ver con
2001.
Paráclitos. Nada que ver.
2001.
Isaías 51, 11 al 15. Los redimidos de
And it
Yahweh
has nothing to do
volverán.
with Parakletos. Nothing to do with it.
Entrarán en
Isaiah
Sión
51,
en
11
proclamaciones,
through
y
15.
habrá alegría
Therefore, the
eterna
redeemed
sobre
of
sus
Yahweh shall
cabezas.
return in the future,
Regocijo
and
y
come
alegría
with
los
singing
acompañarán.
unto
A Dios
Zion,
el
and
penar
everlasting
y
joy
los
shall be
sufridos.
upon their head. They
Yo
shall
soy
obtain
tu
gladness and
consolador,
joy,
dice
and
otra
sorrow and
versión.
mourning
Yo
shall
soy
flee
tu
away.
consolador.
I, even
Tiene que ver
I
el
am
consuelo, y
he
podría
that
ser, no
comforteth
es la
you, it
mejor
says in this version.
traducción,
I am
consuelo
your
o
comforter.
consolador, pero
Does that
yo
have
soy
to do
tu
with comforting?
consolador,
Well, it
o
could
soy
be. It's not the best
tu
translation,
consuelo, y
to
se
counsel or
entiende.
to
No
comfort,
es
but
exactamente lo que
I'm your comforter,
yo diría, como,
or
qué
I
palabra
am
usaría.
your
Ahora le digo qué
counseling.
palabra
It is
usaría.
understood. It is not
¿Quién eres
exactly
tú que tienes
what I would
miedo del
say,
mortal? Dice, yo soy
what
tu
word I
consolador.
would use. I'll
¿Quién
tell
eres
you what
tú
word I would
que
use.
tiene miedo del
Who
mortal
art
y del
thou
Hijo del
that
Hombre
thou shouldest be
aleno
afraid of a man that shall die? He says, I am your
equiparado, que
comforter.
es solamente un
Who art thou
Si-
that thou
si
shouldest be
tú-
afraid of a
si tú
mortal man
le
and of the Son of Man,
preguntas
which shall be
al
made as
texto,
grass? Just
eh,
hay.
Tú tienes mucho miedo.
If you were to ask the
Le tienes
text,
terror al hombre, miedo. ¿Qué necesitas? Un
You're
consolador.
very
No,
afraid.
Cuando tengo miedo no necesito que me consuelen. Necesito otra cosa.
You're terrified of man,
El
fear.
consuelo es cuando
Would you
tengo un
need a
dolor,
comforter? No.
pero
When I'm
lo
afraid, I
vivo.
don't need a
Entonces
comforter.
el texto
I need something
está
else.
diciendo yo soy
Okay.
vuestro consolador
Comforting
porque
is when I have
ustedes
pain,
tienen miedo
but
a
not
los
fear.
mortales.
So then the
No
text
es
is saying, I'm your
la
comforter
palabra adecuada
because
como
you
consolador.
are
No es
afraid
otra palabra.
of the mortals.
Porque está hablando de que
It is
tenemos
not
miedo nosotros y él nos consuela
the most
de
adequate
nuestro miedo,
word,
¿no? Uno no
comforted. It's
consuela a una
not, it's
persona
not
que tiene
another
miedo,
word. It's talking about that
Uno
we
usa
are
otra
afraid.
palabra. ¿Qué palabra
And
podría
he
ser cuando uno
comforts
tiene
us
miedo?
because of our fear. No, you don't comfort a person if they're afraid. You use another
Anima es a la
word. How could it be when someone's afraid?
Este texto no debiera haber dicho yo soy
To
tu
defend,
consolador, sino debería decir yo soy
to
vuestro animador.
bring up their
Así
hope.
debería haber
That is
sido
the word. It should
traducido.
not be
La palabra es ánimo.
your
Si uno
comforter,
tiene
but it
miedo,
should be
uno le da ánimo
I am
para
the
hacer.
person
Tengo miedo de
that
hacer eso,
brings
uno
up
le
your
trata de dar
spirits. It
ánimo
should
para
have been
hacer.
translated
¿Entienden
that.
lo que les digo? No consuelo. Si yo consuelo a un miedoso, le digo,
If
sí,
you,
no te preocupes, así son las
I am
cosas,
afraid of
tratando
that,
de consolar a un
you wanna
miedoso. No
you wanna
gano nada con consolar a un miedoso.
bring up their
¿Me entienden lo que
spirits.
les digo? Consuelo no es la palabra,
Says,
no
no,
es
don't
consolador.
worry,
Sigo leyendo.
like that. Just bring.
¿Quién eres tú que tienes
There,
miedo
I don't
del
earn
mortal y
nothing
del Hijo del Hombre?
with comforting somebody that is afraid.
Malvado.
That is not the word.
Olvidas
I'll
a
read
Yahweh,
on.
tu hacedor, el que extendió los cielos y
Whom
cimentó
art
la
thou that
tierra.
are
Otro
afraid
ánimo.
of the
Te
mortal,
estás olvidando de quién es
or the
tu
Son of Man?
Elohim.
You forget
Y te
Yahweh,
sientes
thy
despavorido
Maker,
todo
that
a lo
had
largo
stretched
del día
forth
ante
the
la furia
heavens.
del
This is
opresor,
to cheer
que
up
en
someone.
cuanto se aplica a destruir.
And laid the foundation of the earth, and has
¿Dónde
feared
está esa
continually
furia del
every day
opresor?
because of
Eso
the
no es
fury of the
consuelo, sino
oppressor,
ánimo.
as
Decir,
if
mirá
he
quién
were
soy,
ready to destroy.
y mirá quién es el poderoso.
And where is
¿Dónde
the
está
fury
esa
of the
furia del
oppressor that is
opresor?
not
Pronto saldrá
comforting
libre
but cheering
el que
someone
está
up?
en la
It says, look
cárcel.
at me.
No morirá
Look at who
en
the
la
powerful
olla,
one is.
no le faltará el pan.
Where is the
Yo
fury of the
soy
oppressor?
Yahweh,
The
tu
captive
Dios,
exile
que agito
hasteneth
el
that
mar
he
y
may be
hago bramar
loosed,
sus
and
olas.
that he should
Yahweh
not
será,
die in the
es
pit, nor
mi
that his
nombre.
bread shall fail.
Vamos
But
a
I
otras
am Yahweh,
versiones.
thy God, that divided the sea,
Isaías,
whose
que
waves
lo
roared.
tradujeron
Yahweh of hosts is his name.
Isaías 51:12.
Let us go to a
En
different
la Dios
version,
habla
and
hoy.
you'll see Isaiah,
Isaías
which was translated
51:12,
correctly.
Dios habla hoy,
Isaiah
versión
51:12
2002, dice,
in the Spanish
yo mismo te
DHH.
doy ánimo.
Isaiah
Exactamente.
51:12
No queremos consuelo,
Spanish DHH,
queremos ánimo.
the version 2002. It
Queremos
says,
que
I,
nos dé
even I,
fuerza.
cheer you
No
up.
queremos que nos
Exactly.
consuele,
We don't want
queremos recibir
to be
ánimo. Ahora no quiero ser
comforted. We
consolado.
want to be cheered up.
No
We
quiero,
want him to
no
give us
quiero, no
strength.
quiero ser consolado porque no
We don't
vino
want
el
him
año
to
pasado,
comfort
porque no
us.
vino
We
a los
want to
70 años
be
y
cheered
me
up.
tiene que
I don't want a
consolar. No, quiero
comforter
que me
now.
consuele. Yo quiero que me
I
dé
don't want to be
ánimo para
comforted
continuar, no
because he didn't
consolado.
come last
Ánimo
year
para continuar.
or
Entonces
at
Yahweh es nuestro
70th year.
animador,
It was to
no es
comfort.
nuestro
No, I don't want him to
consolador.
comfort me. I want to cheer me up to
Yo mismo te
go
doy
on,
ánimo. ¿A
to
quién
cheer me up
tienes miedo?
to bring my
Los
spirits up to
hombres.
keep going.
A los hombres mortales que no son más que hierba. Vieron que es ánimo.
I myself cheer you up.
Es ánimo.
Whom
Dice, a eso le
dost
tenés
thou
miedo.
fear?
Pero si yo
Man,
soy
mortal
mucho más
men that are
poderoso que tú,
nothing
yo estoy
but
contigo. No
grass.
tengas
You
miedo.
see how
Eso
that
no
is
es
cheering up.
ánimo.
It is not
Entonces
comforting.
Yahweh no es nuestro
Says you're afraid of
consolador.
that?
Yahweh es nuestro
A lot more
animador.
powerful than you. I'm with you. Don't be afraid of that.
Isaías
It is
51,
cheering you
12
up. So
al
then
16.
Yahweh is
También
not
lo voy a
a
leer en la
comforter.
Biblia
Yahweh
en
is
lenguaje
our
sencillo.
person
Yo
that cheers us
quiero
up,
que
that brings
nos
up our
quedan
spirits.
grabados los textos y encima con
12 through
palabras
16,
nefastas que no
I'll
son.
read in the Spanish of
Claro,
the
¿quién no se acordaba de ese texto?
simple language. You see
Yahweh soy
how the
vuestro
texts
consolador.
are recorded to us
Y
with
lo
nefarious
relaciona los
words, top it
cristianos
off, that
con
are
el
not there.
consolador
Who didn't remember
que
that text?
iba a mandar. Por eso
I
Yahweh es parte de la
am your
Trinidad,
comforter.
y bla,
And
bla,
the
bla.
Christians relate that with the comforter.
Entonces leemos todo este texto en la
He would
en la
say
Biblia
that is
en
why he is Yahweh,
sencillez,
part of the
dice,
Trinity, and blah, blah,
Dios
blah.
dijo, yo soy
So then we
yo
read this whole text
mismo
in
el
the
que los anima.
Bible
Perfecto.
of the simple
No
language,
que
and
los
it says,
consuela,
God said,
sino que nos da ánimo.
I
Yo
am,
soy
even
el mismo
I
que
am
los
the
anima.
one that cheers you up.
¿Por qué
Perfect.
le
Not that
tienen
he
miedo a
comforts them, but
simples
he
seres
cheers us
humanos
up, brings
que
up
no
our
son más que
spirits.
hierba?
I am the
No
very same one
olviden,
that
ese es el
animates
no
you.
consuelo, sino ánimo.
Why doth
No
thou
olviden que yo
fear
soy su
simple
creador.
humans that
Yo
are
soy el
nothing
que
but
extendió los
grass?
cielos
Forget
y
not,
afirmó la
remember
tierra.
that,
Uno
cheering
solo,
someone up, don't
un
forget
un solo.
that I am your creator.
YHWH.
I am the one that
No
extends
teman
the
al
heavens
enemigo, que con
and
furia quiere
affirmed the earth.
destruirlos.
Only one.
No
It's very clear, only
teman.
one.
No
Yahweh.
los consuelo, sino les doy ánimo. No
Do not fear the
teman
enemy
es
that
no
with fury wants to
consolar,
destroy destroy you. Do not fear. He is not comforting, but he's cheering them up. Don't fear is to cheer up, to bring up their spirits. Do not fear the oppressor that wants to destroy you. Before my power, all their fury disappears.
porque
soon
yo soy el único Dios.
will be loosed the
Oh,
prisoners,
qué lindo que lo pusieron acá.
and they shall
Yo
not
soy
lack any
el
food or
único
die in the
Dios,
prison,
el Dios
because I'm the only God. Oh,
todopoderoso.
look at how beautiful this
Yo
is.
agito
Oh,
el
look
mar,
at how beautiful
y
it
las
is.
olas se
I
levantan
am
con
the only
estruendo.
God,
Yo les dije lo que
the
deben decir,
Almighty
y
God.
los protegeré con mi
I divide
poder.
the sea and the
Yo he
waves
extendido los
roar.
cielos y
I have
afirmado la
told you
tierra.
what you
Y
should
ahora
say,
digo,
and will protect
habitantes de
you with my
Jerusalén,
power.
ustedes son
I have
míos.
extended the heavens and
Muy clarito,
laid the foundations
no
of the
vuelvan
earth,
a
and now I
decir que
say,
Yahweh es nuestro consolador,
inhabitants of Jerusalem,
porque
thou
Yahweh
art my
no es
people.
nuestro
It is
consolador.
very clear.
Yahweh es
Do not ever
nuestro
again say that Yahweh is our
animador,
comforter,
el que nos
because
llena de
Yahweh
valentía,
is
el que
not
nos llena
our
de
comforter.
ganas para seguir en
Yahweh
esta
is
tierra.
our
Eso es ánimo.
animator, that brings up our spirit, cheers
Entonces,
us up,
espero que haya
gives us
quedado
the
un
strength
poco
to
más
keep
claro.
going on this
El
earth. That
otro
is to
es
cheer someone up.
parácletos, no es ni siquiera ánimo. El otro es abogado
So I
defensor.
hope
Es un
that
intercesor.
it is a little
Y
clearer.
aparte que
And
Yahweh
the other is parakletos. It's not
encarnado
even
en
to
Yeshua
cheer up.
dijo,
The other one
"Le
is
voy a mandar
defender,
a otro,
an intercessor,
Carlos,
an
otro,
advocate.
de otra forma, de
And
otra
aside from
manera,
that,
de
that
otro
Yahweh,
modo."
when he was
Entonces
incarnate
está hablando de
in
otro.
Yeshua, he
¿Cómo
said, I'll send you another, alos,
puede haber quedado esto
in a
confuso?
different way,
Que
from a
la
different
persona que me
place,
escribió esto
talking
le
about
ayudó
another.
la
So then,
confusión.
how
Y también allá
could
ayudó a
this
ustedes si tenían
have
un
been
poco
left
de
confusing?
confusión.
Hope that the person that wrote to me
Bien.
is no longer confused. And also, I hope that it helped you if you were a little confused. Very well. 4, and last one.
Primero que nada,
Oh, this
dice,
one's
"Hola,
so
amado
long.
Cristian, ¿cómo estás?"
Oh, wow.
Primero que nada,
Let's go to this one.
agradecerle a Dios por permitirnos
First than
a mi
anything,
padre
it
y a
says,
mí
beloved
escucharte
Christian,
cada
how art
sábado.
thou?
Desde ya,
First than
un
anything,
año
I
y
want
medio.
to thank God for allowing my
Esto me
father
lo
and
dijo,
I
un año y
to
medio.
listen to you every Shabbat
He visto todos tus
from already
videos
a year and a
tal
half
cual
ago.
me recomendaste que
Oh, they're
hiciera.
pretty new.
En
A
una
year and a half.
conversación que tuvimos hace
I have seen
tiempo ya,
all of your
que me
videos
faltaba aprender
as you
mucho
have recommended for me to do.
cuánta
In a
razón
conversation
tenías,
that
amigo.
we've had
Ahora,
some time ago,
ya con un
that I needed to
conocimiento
learn a
más
lot more.
amplio y viéndolo todo desde
How
otra
right were you, my friend?
perspectiva,
Now,
mi mundo
already
cambió
with
por
a
completo.
more amplified knowledge
Ya
and
no volví
having
a
seen
ser
everything
el
from a different
mismo
point of view,
nunca más. Qué bueno, esos son de
my
los
world
primeros
has changed
comentarios o lo que
entirely.
más me gusta escuchar.
I have not gone
El
back to
cambio en
be
las
the
personas.
same ever again.
Porque una
That's good.
cosa
Those are the
es,
best comments,
que te agradezcan que
the
estamos
ones that I like to hear the most.
absolutamente perfecto,
The change in people.
pero me conmueve
One
más
thing
cuando las personas
is
dicen,
for
"Me
them to
cambiaste
thank
la
you,
vida,
which is
al entender
absolutely
esto cambió",
perfect.
porque realmente esa es
But
la
it moves me
misión de
more
esto.
when the people say,
Claro.
you have
Porque
changed my
también,
life.
los que se
Having
paraban
understood
frente a
this, it has
Ezequiel,
changed because
les
actually
gustaba
that
porque
is
lo
the
alababan.
mission of
"No,
this.
Fra Ezequiel, qué bonito".
Of course, because also
No tenían la menor
those
ganas
that
de
would
hacer
be,
lo que
were in front of
Ezequiel decía.
Ezekiel, they liked it and they said, thank you, that's so pretty. But I didn't have the least
Claro, y que te lo digan, soy otra
will
persona.
to
Qué-
do what
qué
Ezekiel said.
espectacular, misión absolutamente accomplished.
And of course, for them to say I'm a different person, how spectacular is that? A mission that is completely
Adquirir todas
accomplished.
las enseñanzas hizo que sienta una mezcla de alegría
Actually,
y
it's a
angustia al
before and
mismo
after.
tiempo.
Actually,
Y sí, cuando uno
now,
aprende
to
algo,
acquire all the
viene la
teachings
carga
has made me to feel a mixture of joy and anguish at
hay
the
que
same time.
resolver.
Yeah, when you learn something,
Por el
you
motivo que
have
soy joven
the
y hace
charge
muchos años que estoy
of
solo,
problems
le pido a
that you
Elohim
have to
una
resolve.
compañera de vida. Y eso le ocurre a
Because
muchos de
I'm young
ustedes.
and
Este
some years
mensaje
ago that I've been
que
alone,
está muy bueno,
I asked
abarca a muchos de
Elohim
ustedes, ¿eh?
for a companion in life. That happens to lots of you. This message that's very good,
Exacto, o sea,
it goes to a lot of you.
le pido a
I
Elohim
asked
una compañera
for a
de
companion
vida,
for me.
alguien
Yeah, for Ale
con
also.
quien compartir
Yes, for Ale
todo
also.
esto el tiempo que nos toque estar en este plano.
I ask Elohim for a
Es
life
un
partner,
deseo muy profundo en
someone
mi
with
corazón
whom
desde
to
siempre,
share
pero el problema viene
everything the time
ya
that we
que
have
no
to be in this
puedo
plane.
empatizar
It
ni
is a very
relacionarme
deep
con
desire in my
nadie.
heart.
Llámese cristiano,
The problem is,
despierto,
since
entre comillas,
I cannot
despierto,
empathize nor relate with anyone,
despierto o lo que
whether
sea,
they're Christian,
porque tenemos formas tan
aw-
distintas de ver y
awakened,
entender a
you
Dios.
know, quote unquote, you know,
y
flat
todo lo
earther,
demás.
awoken or whatever,
En otras
because he
ocasiones,
has
lo he
such ways that are so
intentado, he
different
cedido
of
en
seeing
muchas
God and
cosas,
understanding God
pero mis
and all the rest.
ideales,
In different occasions, I've tried it, and I've conceded many things, but my ideals, my beliefs cannot be moved. They're stronger than me. That's what happens. That brings consequences, problems in the future, because on the other side, in other words, on the other side, the women on the other side, or was it here? On the other side, they also don't bend the arm with the dogmatic Christianity. Of course not in the very least. They look at us as crazy people. We're always clashing with opinions, of course, because Elohim has to be the central part in a matrimony. What should be the central axis with Elohim as head? Of course, Elohim in your belief is not simply just another belief. No. That is the strongest point of union, believe it or not. And it could also be a point of disunion also later, believe it or not. So then how can we do to be with someone that does not believe or think about the same thing? How do I explain to a Christian that we are the Mashiach directly? Yeah, not that. How do you explain to a Christian that I'm going to put this, not that we believe as the Mashiach. If we were to tell him that we are, wow. First of all, this guy's Argentinian, first of all. They were born that they were all Mashiach. Yes, of course, let's start with that. It is very difficult. That's the truth. That's the truth. So then he says, moving on, how do I explain to a Christian that we are the Mashiach, and that the hell is not eternal, and that Israel is the beast, that God is not a Trinity, etc., etc., etc. Just to begin with something. Just to begin, that is a little easier. Is it really important, or do I just leave it like that and just keep it to myself and enjoy everything else while I wait that someday God can illuminate her? To enjoy what exactly? What is everything else? No, I'm just playing. All this causes, all this causes so that to connect with someone is impossible, except with my brethren of LVE that were so dispersed all over the world. They're all more ugly than the next. No, I added that last part. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. But there's no one to look for. Yeah, that's the truth. It's so difficult. We're so few. We're very few. I feel that it's very difficult for them to understand and for them to see, because it's something that goes against everything that they believe in and defend. It's true. It's not a difference. If an Adventist already, well, I'll read on. If an Adventist thought that it was too difficult to establish a relationship with the Catholic, in the words difficult, actually difficult, and if the church would find out, they'd kick you out right there. Just imagine, if you marry a Catholic, they would delete you as a member because you're an idiot. But taking that out, if they would delete you or not, it's very difficult, because you can talk about certain subjects but not of God. Because if you were to marry a Catholic, she likes the Virgin, she is Virgin, for example, you can say, wow, she's Catholic, doesn't care about anything. Maybe you don't even get into religion, but she's a Catholic that goes to confession, has to go to Mass or procession. You might say, wow, this is for an Adventist. This is pure paganism. Well, it's very difficult, very difficult. So then it says, I feel that it is very difficult for them to understand and see, because it's something that goes against everything that they believe and defend. So then, how do you do it? I need your wisdom and an advice to be able to overcome this and to try to be happy with the card that we had to play. It is very... I clarify, I say a woman, a companion, but it's also applied to all the known friendships. I say it is applied to the friends. and that the family look at you kind of weird, that you should not even open your mouth, because if you open your mouth, then you sell. You have to take him to psychology.
Menos que delirando.
Messianic complex, you got to take him to
Si
messianic.
no creen en un Cristo que va a venir
What
en las
less
nubes de los
thing
cielos,
could they say?
¿cómo va a decir que este es el
That
Cristo?
we're
Y que no va a venir ningún Cristo en las nubes de los
delirious.
cielos?
The
Tal-
Christians believe a Christ
se-
that will
se
come in
volvió-
the clouds of heaven. I was going to say that this is a Christ, and that there's not going to be any Christ in the
Dice,
cloud of heaven.
"No
He's kind of
soy
crazy,
muy
the guy
bueno
is.
redactando".
He
Sí,
lost it.
bastante bueno.
He went
Ricardo, lo
crazy.
que quiero decir,
He went
así que
crazy.
espero que puedas discernir
He says,
lo
I
que
am
escribí
not
y me ayudes a
very
mí y
good
quizás a otras personas que están en
writing.
la
Yeah, you're
misma.
pretty good
Les
and to
mando
explain what I
desde
want
Buenos
to
Aires,
say,
de
so I hope that
Argentina,
you can
como
discern what I wrote
sabes.
and that you can help me, and maybe other people
Empezó a no ser
that are
tan-
in the same boat. From Buenos Aires, Argentina, well, already he
anónimo, tan anónimo.
started to not be
Le
so,
mando un saludo de Buenos Aires, dice, o quizás
how do you say this?
Colombia,
So anonymous,
Te
so
mando a
anonymous.
Buenos Aires un fuerte abrazo y muchos cariños a
Saying
toda
hello
la
from
familia.
Buenos
Siempre
Aires. Maybe I'm
gracias
in
por todo,
Colombia
siempre.
or Bogota. I'm just playing.
Este correo es excelente.
Just say hello from Buenos
porque es una
Aires.
situación que están pasando muchos,
And
no sé si no
thanks
la
for
mayoría
everything.
de todos
And hello to
ustedes,
everyone.
espero
Semper
que
Fi.
son
Okay,
de
this is
la
an
verdad.
excellent,
Exactamente. Eso
excellent.
es algo.
And I'm not saying I don't know if most of you that are of the eternal truth are going through. Exactly, it's something.
Como hay ya un cariño generalizado, hay cierta tolerancia también. Pero es difícil no
Those that are
fácil,
married,
no
they're
fácil.
already married. Since it's kind of generalized already, there's certain tolerance, but it's difficult. It's not easy.
No pueden hablar de ciertos
The same
temas.
conflict.
Y es difícil tener
Exactly.
una pareja
They
a
suffer.
la cual se llevan bien si no se
They
pueden
cannot
tocar
speak
ciertos
about
temas.
certain
Se pone
subjects,
difícil.
and
En
it is
una pareja
difficult
se
to
debe
have
tocar todos los temas habidos por haber. Pero dice, no,
a
con ella no
couple
puedo hablar de
that you
religión,
get along with, but
con
you
ella
can't
no
touch on
puedo
certain
hablar,
subjects. It's difficult
bueno,
because you can touch all the
básicamente de la
subjects that
vida de
there's ever been.
nosotros. Todavía
They
el ser
say, no,
humano
with her I
trabaja
cannot speak about
realmente.
religion. With her I cannot speak, well,
Entonces,
basically,
¿cómo puedo
which is
contestar este
our
mail?
life.
Muy difícil. Así, muy
All
difícil.
our life is religion. Actually, it
Voy a
is
decir las
religion.
cosas
So then,
que no hago.
how can I answer this? It's very difficult. Just like that, it is very difficult.
Eh,
I'm going to say
No
things
condeno a
that I
nadie
don't do.
por
Things that I don't
buscarse
do.
una pareja que no sea parte de la verdad eterna. No condeno porque
I do not
iría
condemn
contra
anyone
la naturaleza misma.
for
Porque la
looking
naturaleza
for
te llama a formar una pareja. La naturaleza
a
te llama
couple
a
that is
formar
not of the eternal
relaciones
truth. I don't condemn them because it would go against
amigos
nature itself, because nature
para
calls you
dialogar.
to form
Lo que
a
menos
couple,
en
to
otras
form relations
oportunidades yo he enseñado lo contrario, pero
of
cuando tienes la
friends
mentalidad
or a couple
optimista,
to
que te
talk
tienes
with
que
the
cerrar
least
en
in
ni
other
siquiera
opportunities. What I've taught the
dialogar con
contrary,
personas de tu misma
because of
fe.
when I had the
No.
Adventist
Ahora, en este momento
mentality that you have to
pienso,
enclose yourself, or not even to talk about people
no
of
sé
your
si es
own
lo que te
faith.
conviene,
No.
eso está claro.
Now,
Primero voy a
at this
decir lo
point in
que
time,
no
I
hago,
think
o lo que no
very
hacemos.
differently.
Nosotros no te
I don't know if
condenamos
that's what's
porque te cases o
convenient.
te pongas
That is
de
clear.
novio,
First, I'll
tengas
say what I
amigas,
don't do, or what we don't do.
amigos,
First, we
del
do
otro
not condemn
sexo,
you because you marry or
que no
you
compartan tu
start dating or
No
you
lo
have
puedo condenar porque sería
friends, female friends, or
Eso me
friends of the opposite sex that do not share your
Por eso,
faith.
o
I
amigos-
cannot
o
condemn you
amigos
because
del
that
mismo
would
sexo,
be
o lo que sea.
anti-natural.
Pero
That's
relaciones,
first of all.
relaciones entre
Or
el mismo
same-sex
sexo,
friends,
no me refiero a
whatever.
relaciones sexuales, me refiero a relaciones,
Relations,
relaciones de amistad
relations
y todo lo que tenga, y aún con
between
sexo, lo que sea.
the same
Pero
sex.
más que nada yo me refiero
And
a
I'm not talking
relaciones
about
de
sexual
amistad
relations,
y
just
humanas.
friendships.
Con el sexo
and even
contrario,
with
con
sex,
el mismo
whatever.
sexo, que
But
no
more
se
than anything,
comparta la misma
I
religión,
mean
para mí son
friendship, human
inevitables
relationships.
y
Now, with opposite
en
sex,
algún
same
caso
sex,
necesarias.
for the same religion
las
to not
condeno.
be shared,
Si no las
for me, it's inevitable.
Porque si no estaríamos
And
condenando a una cantidad de jóvenes solteros
in
a que
some
si no
case
encontrás a
are
alguien
necessary.
dentro de este
I do not
grupito que me
condemn them,
escucha
just
a
like
mí
that.
de
I
la
do not
verdad
condemn them.
eterna, entonces
Or else I'd be
estamos
condemning
condenados
a whole bunch of
pero no, eso está
single
lejos de lo que enseño.
youth that are here in the eternal
Buscarte a
truth.
alguien
If you
que te
don't
haga
just
feliz
find
y
someone
que no
that
pelee
is
mucho
just
por
here
la
from the eternal truth,
religión,
then you're
eso es
condemned.
mi
No,
consejo.
that is far from what I
Ahora,
teach.
que
Look for
es
someone that makes you happy,
limitada la
and that you
relación,
don't fight
que
too
se
much
cae
about
abajo,
religion,
porque
and
por
that's
pones
it.
acá
That
y
is
todos
my
ustedes saben, va a ser limitado.
advice. Now, that it
Porque
is
si hay
limited,
una pared,
well, that is
si esa
obvious.
pared,
All
si
of you
fuera
know
medio
that you're going to
moldeable,
limit.
sería lindo.
Because
Si hay un diálogo,
if there
y
is
una-
a wall,
sería lindo.
and that wall,
Pero si hay una pared que digan,
if it
no,
were a little
no
bit
quiero ni que me hables de
moldable,
tus
it'd be
locuras,
nice.
no
If
quiero.
there is conversation, it'd be nice. But if there is a wall where they said, no, I don't even want you to speak about your crazy things. No. And already with that determination, it's kind of like there isn't much of a union there. It's difficult. There's not a true union there. And it is difficult for them to mold, that word to mold. Yeah, to mold. It's well said. To mold or to be only one being when the religion is different. To fuse is well said in one being when the religions are different. It is very difficult. It is very difficult. I would say almost impossible. But that does not take away that there could be even a level of companionship. And if that satisfies you, then who's going to condemn you? Because humanity and all the everything that we are, we need that relation. We need that. And if there isn't, we can't find it, then we can't. Maybe my advice, my most my best advice would be this. You have to dedicate time to prayer and asking for Yahweh for a companion. Just ask Yahweh for a companion. It is applied to the same thing that happened. He saw a man that was alone and he says he does not have a meat helper. I'll make him a meat helper for him. So then, if you ask Yahweh to send you the correct person, maybe Yahweh will send you the person that is not of your religion, but it's a person that is adept to learn or to accept, even to a certain point, what you believe in. But if you look for her without asking Yahweh, I'm not saying for you not to look for her, you can look for her, go ahead, but without asking Yahweh every day, then there's less of a chance. In other words, the greater chance is in asking Yahweh. You say praying with one arm and with the other one will with the hammer. So praying and working with that. Not just praying and just waiting like that, because nothing will happen. No women will come knocking, I'm looking for you. He says, I'm ready. No, that's not going to happen. Now, if you pray, Yahweh says, okay, since he's asking for this, I'm going to go ahead and give him and concede his desire, his wish. Those are the most effective prayers, in my point of view. Also, there's the question of prayer that maybe not today, but we'll touch on it. If it is necessary to pray, sometimes they write to me with so many mistakes that I don't even understand what you're writing. Sometimes it's difficult for me to understand the question. Is it really necessary, or if we could just do all day in our life without praying? No, prayer is absolutely fundamental. And what is a prayer more than anything? Kind of like a chat, a conversation with Yahweh, because that reinforces your faith in Him. It doesn't allow you to go cold, because if you don't pray and you don't speak with Him, it's kind of like not speaking with a person. You forget them, so then you have to speak with Him. But not like, oh, Father that art in heaven, sanctified be thy name. No, not that type of prayer, but like a chat with Him. And little by little, you will find that taste for speaking with Him, and it seems like you're talking into the air, but at least you speak, and Yahweh listens to you. If you believe in Yahweh, He listens to you. So then first of all, you have to ask Yahweh and to work. You pray with one hand, and with the other, you strike with the hammer, as the saying goes. And the most important thing with this, I don't know if it's the most important, but it's very important, is that she has, whether she has your religion or not, that there's a good religion, you see there the religion. If you tell her what you believe in and she didn't, if you tell her what you believe in and she didn't run away, it's maybe because she loves you. Just maybe there's respect in what you believe in. It's interesting. I believe something else. And that is something that you could work with there. Because actually she says the truth. The ideal answer there is, tell the truth, I don't believe what the fuck you believe in. You can believe in whatever. I love you as a person, and I think it's okay. I have my own beliefs, and maybe I can change them in the future. I don't know. But when there's already a war of religion there, no, right there, it will not work. But if there are many things that work, because you like each other and many things, that's very important to be friends first. No one's saying get and marry that person. No, be a friend, and you can have a relationship as a boyfriend girlfriend, and then you will see how true that relationship could work or not. But I'll repeat this again to everyone. Exactly. Not because she's of the eternal truth, it is made sure that everything will work out. Maybe one from outside is better. Yes. The true belief in the same God does not mean that they'll get along. No, none whatsoever. Exactly. But remember something of what I said.
Va a haber respeto. Cierta limitación, pero va a haber respeto. Ahora, recuerden lo que les acabo de decir.
If they are good friends first, they will get along even if they are of the different religion. Okay, now just remember what I've just said. Do not limit yourselves to look for people in the eternal truth. Don't limit yourselves. I come from Adventism, believing strongly that how was it that you say it? Tell me what it is. There cannot be a different yoke, and if she was not Adventist, do not look for her. No. And the most probable thing is that she goes outside. I've seen this all the time. But we're not Adventist, and our beliefs are a lot more open than that of Adventism. A lot more open than that of Adventism. So then we are on a different level. Do not restrict your search just to people of the eternal truth. That's what I have to say. Remember my words. I don't want anyone to say, because I just looked in the eternal truth, I'm alone, and now my whole life left me. No. Look. In the best places, you have to see the person is wise. So many things that you can detect by being friends, and to go into the stage of boyfriend girlfriend, you can detect so many things. If you'll be compatible or not. Many here in the eternal truth started dating, and then they broke up. And some people got married, and then they got divorced. And some people have got married in the eternal truth. Yes, what Leslie said, I hope you heard. There's been all kinds of things within the eternal truth. There are people that started dating, and they weren't at all the best, and they fought, and others that got married, and they got along kind of okay. Other people that got along well, and others got married and got divorced. So then there's been all kinds of things here within the eternal truth. It's not at all to say, no, I'm just look for somebody from my religion. No, look for someone that actually has characteristics that you can see that are the ones of wisdom. Look for someone wise. A wise person will say, oh, look, what you believe in, it's pretty interesting. It's not that I have to accept it, but it doesn't sound crazy. It sounds like a different belief. That already talks about wisdom through those people. You can see about that. So then, well, that's my answer. Whatever you look for, do not restrict yourselves in the eternal truth. And I tell that to everyone, men and women. I am speaking to everyone. We are not a society, a sect that tells you, look only for someone in here, because if you date with someone outside, we're not going to delete you. No, not in the very least. Not in the very least. Just like that. None whatsoever. Absolutely nothing. It is your own experience. And if it doesn't turn out well outside, it'll be your own experience. You have to treasure it as your own experience. If it did not turn out well with a man or woman, it is a unique experience. It has to help you grow. Well, it's just that I haven't seen certain things. I will continue learning and trying until things turn out well. So then, that was for everyone. good luck.
cuestión de oración. Pónganse a orar
I don't even like that phrase. It's not about luck,
a Dios orando
but
y
it
con
is
el
about
mazo
prayer.
dando.
It is
Nunca
about
supe
prayer. Start to
a qué
pray,
mazo se refería. Si era el mazo
praying
de
with
golpear
God
o
and
el mazo
striking
de-
with the hammer. I've never
Sí,
known
yo
what
siempre lo vi
hammer
como
it
el mazo de las
was
cartas,
referring
como
to.
jugando al truco,
If it was
a
a
los naipes
hammer
españoles.
of striking
Dice, a Dios orando que me
of
reciba buenas
the
cartas
deck
con
of
el mazo
cards,
dado.
because it's
Tengo
the
que
same
dar
word
las
in
cartas.
Spanish.
Es que también se aplica.
Like,
Tengo
like
que dar
because
las
I would
cartas
like to play
y también
decks,
oro a Dios para que me dé
pl-
buena suerte.
playing
No
with
me puede dar
to
buena suerte
God
si no
on one
reparto las
side
cartas.
and then
Entonces hay que
then
repartir las cartas.
giving
También lo puedo
out the
interpretar
cards
con
from
el
the deck.
martillo, el mazo dando, trabajando.
He can't give me good
Lo puedo
luck if I
interpretar
don't
de las
give
dos
the
formas.
cards.
A mí me
You
gusta
can
más de
also
las
interpret
dos
it that way with the hammer,
Bien,
by working.
bien.
It could be
Y nos vamos
interpreted
a
in both
Proverbios
ways. I like the one about the
son tan
cards
lindas las
more.
preguntas. A mí me gustan porque
Very well.
estamos
Very
estudiando
well.
sabiduría y disciplina.
And now we go to
Y tienen que
Proverbs,
leer la primera
which is
pregunta,
they're
es
so
pura
beautiful. These
sabiduría y
questions, I
disciplina.
like them because
Si no sabes
we are
disciplinar tu
studying
casa
wisdom and
o
discipline.
o tus
And from the point
necesidades,
since I
entonces,
started to read the first questions,
este nombre,
pure
este título no debería ser
wisdom and
para ti.
discipline. If you don't know how to discipline your house or your needs,
Esta serie te ayuda a
then
ser sabio y disciplina. Y fue todo lo que
this
hicimos.
title should not
Realmente
be like
es
that.
así.
This
Trasciende
series.
el libro de Proverbios. Todo
This
lo
series
que todo
helps
me
you
está
be wise
explicando es sabiduría
and to
y
have discipline.
disciplina.
That's what we're
Y
doing.
ya hablé
It really
casi
is
2
that way.
horas.
It
Yo le dije a
transcends
Leslie,
the
voy a
book of
hablar 2
Proverbs.
horas,
Everything that I'm
y voy
explaining
a
in this
dejar.
series is wisdom and
Y bueno,
discipline,
me han
and
dado
I'm already
un ratito más,
speaking
me han
almost
dado un
2
ratito
hours.
más,
I told
pero
Leslie
es muy
I'm going to speak for
importante
2
lo que le
hours
acabo de enseñar para las mujeres, para los
and then
hombres,
stop.
que buscan
I'll speak a
pareja,
little more, just to speak a little more.
para saber que no dice yo soy
But
vuestro
it's very important what I've
consolador.
taught
¿Qué dice?
you for
¿Qué
men
dice
and
Isaías?
women,
Yo soy vuestro
for
¿qué?
those that are looking for a
Animador. ¿Ya
companion,
lo aprendieron hoy?
for
Nunca se
to,
van con las
says,
manos
to
vacías.
know that it doesn't say I'm your comfortable, as I say I'm your what?
Para eso estoy.
The person that cheers you up.
Y eso, si hay
You know what
likes
you've
de
learned
sobra.
today?
¿Cuántos
You
hay?
never go
Hay
with your hands empty. How do you
263
learn? That's what I like.
y
That's what I'm here for.
260 viendo. Está muy bien. Hay más likes que personas
If we
viendo
have
que
likes,
me
let's
encanta.
see,
No se olviden
263
de comentar,
likes and
después no se olviden
260
de
watching.
comentar.
That's very good. More likes than people
Y
watching.
comenten
I
también
love
lo
that.
que las preguntas que acabo de decir,
Don't
si les
forget to
ayudó,
comment.
si lo entendieron, quizá hicieron
Forget to
la
comment.
cantidad de mujeres, Porque saben que
Comment also about the
corregir
questions that I've
o
just
corregir
said. If it
toda una
helped you, if
vida
you
de hacer
understood
las
them,
cosas mal porque no
maybe
sabían. Vamos
a
a
whole
suponer
bunch
que
of
yo
women
soy
got
una
upset
mujer
because you know what? To
que me
correct
escucha. Estoy
or to
escuchando a
correct
Cristian
a
Silva.
whole life of doing things
Y
wrong
que
because you didn't
yo
know. Let's
pensé,
suppose that I am a woman
me quiero perfecta,
and I hear myself.
pero yo pensé que
I'm
mi marido
listening
tenía
to
que
Christian
venir a
Silva,
ayudarme,
and
porque ese
I thought,
desgraciado no hace nada y yo siempre
and I
fregando y
believe
fregando.
myself being
Y ahora
perfect, first of
Cristian
all,
Silva me
but I
dice que
thought
yo
that my
hago las
husband had
cosas
to come
mal
home and
porque no
help
las
me
hago
because that
efectivamente y no puse a
son of a
trabajar
bitch
todos mis
doesn't do
niños.
anything and I'm always washing the
Y me da
dishes.
bronca
You know,
con
Christian
él.
Silva tells me
Me da
that I
bronca
do
con él.
things
Dice,
wrong,
es
that
porque
I'm
es
doing
mujer,
things
es porque
correctly, and I
no,
don't
él no sabe lo
delegate
que tiene
the
que hacer.
tasks, and I get angry
Sé
against him.
perfectamente lo
And
que
I say, you know what? Because he's not a woman, because he doesn't know what it is. I know. I perfectly well know what I'm saying.
han hecho las cosas mal. No importa cuántos hijos tenga. Es más, mientras
I
más hijos
perfectly
tenés,
well
más
know.
te
I know women can be upset at
Así,
me, but
más-
actually,
más tenés-
you've done things wrong.
Mirá tus hijos
You've
como
done things wrong. No matter how many children you have, the more children you have, the more they can help you.
mientras más tenés, y tenés
The
más
more
fácil que hagan
look
las
at your
cosas por vos.
children
No
like,
servirlos
I'm
a
not
ellos.
gonna say
Tus
servants,
hijos
but
son tus
you
siervos.
can look at them like
Tú
servants. The
eres
more you have,
sierva de tus
you have
hijos.
more hands to help
Acá,
you.
las mujeres
Not
son
serve
siervas
them.
hasta que se
Your
mueren.
children are your servants and not you a servant of your children. Here, women are servants
Siervos en el buen sentido, que están para servir,
until they die.
para ayudarte.
But your children are your servants. If you have that mentality,
Que les
and that's
das
in the good
casa,
sense of the word,
comida
that are there to help you,
y
and you give them
protección,
something,
abrigo y educación. ¿Qué tienen que hacer ellos?
a shelter, a
Ayudar
roof
a la casa de los
over
otros.
their
Es un
heads,
tiempo para jugar.
and
Pero que
protection,
tienen que ayudar todo. Que tienen que venir a
and
solucionar
shelter,
problemas,
and
no a aumentar.
clothes on their back. What do they have to do? Help you with everything. You give them some time to play, but they have to help
Entonces,
you.
no te enojes conmigo.
They have to come and solve problems, not to augment your problems. If you understand that,
Para lo que
then
entienden que es traste,
don't get upset at
incluso
me.
traste.
You've done things
Traste es
wrong,
cola,
just like that,
trasero,
wrong.
traste. Cuando yo digo tienen que lavar
You've
los trastes,
done
no me
it,
refiero a lavar los platos,
things
sino
as
que
ass.
tienen que
If you
lavar-
think
mandar lavar
traste
el
in
trasero.
Argentinian
Traste y trasero. Yo
means
sé que ustedes
ass.
usan traste para los trastes. Los
In
argentinos
Argentinian,
son
if I say wash
solamente
your traste, is wash your
para
ass.
decir, te fue
I
para
know that
mirar,
you use
qué
traste
traste
for
tenés,
plates,
por no decir qué
but
culo tenés,
Argentinians,
porque
we
para-
use the word
la
traste
palabra
only
culo
to say
es una
It was ass. That was ass.
Supuestamente.
If they say, what a traste you have, is what an ass you have on you.
¿Qué culo tenés?
'Cause
¿Qué suerte tenés? Te
If
dicen
they
qué
say
traste.
culo, the actual
En
word
mi caso se
culo,
usaba
it's
mucho
kind of
porque
vulgar.
mi papá y mi mamá
Instead of
evitaban
saying
la palabra
that,
culo. Y trasero mucho no se usa en
they say,
Argentina.
what
Se
a
entiende, pero no se
traste.
usa. Se usa traste, se usa
My
cola.
mom and dad would avoid those
Entonces
words like
dice,
culo.
wow,
And the backside, we don't use,
horrible. Sí,
we
queda-
say
queda un poquito
the
mejor
tail.
que culo,
We say,
pero
oh, wow,
traste, sí. Entonces las cosas te van para el
how
traste,
horrible. It's horrible.
o tenés
It's a
mucho
little
traste,
better
mucha
than
suerte,
ass.
o te van para el traste.
So,
Recuerden eso porque cada
if
que
everything
limpies los
is
trastes, recuerden
like
palabra traste.
you have a
luego
lot of
la
traste, that
tu
means that you're
vajilla
very
es
lucky.
culo.
Or if everything is ass, when you wash your dishes, remember my word. Traste is not a plate.
Los tengo
It is
que
ass.
argentinizar a todos. Si ustedes no se argentinizan,
You explain things,
entonces
you misapply things.
no cumplí mi
I
tarea.
have to Argentinize you.
Para cumplir mi tarea, los
If you
tengo
don't
que
Argentinize
argentinizar,
yourselves,
lo que significa,
then
los tengo que mejorar.
I have not
No te puedo
accomplished my task. In order to accomplish my
Eso
task, I have to
significa la palabra
Argentinize you.
argentino,
What?
mejor, en todos los aspectos,
I have
mejor.
to better you. Wow, I can't believe you.
La plata brilla.
That is what the word in Argentinian is better in every aspect. It's better. Argentinian is silver. Silver shines the best. I know I've upset so many now. So many. I got them in their pride. My mission is to Argentinize you, which is to better you. Okay, very well. Very well, moving on. Or let us begin with today's subject, Proverbs 1. We are studying, and today I'm not going to read the whole rest of it to save some time. I just thought about speaking for 2 hours today and went, well, I'm going to read it. Go ahead. I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and read it. Christian, just read and shut up. Okay, let us read the version of the eternal truth of Proverbs. Looking for it, don't get upset. It's here. I have to advance. The eternal truth version of what we have studied up until now. It says as follows. Proverbs 1.
Lo cambié de lugar ahora. ¿Dónde lo puse? Acá está. Proverbios 1. Versión La Verdad Eterna 2024. Los proverbios de Salomón, hijo de David, rey de Israel.
Proverbs 1, version of the eternal truth 2024. Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. In order to understand wisdom and discipline, Chokhmah and Musar. In order to comprehend the intelligence of the wise, to receive discipline, to act prudently and with justice, discipline to judge, and discipline to make correct and make straight, to give intelligence to the ignorant and the youth, wise and intelligent planification. The wise and the intelligent listen to these proverbs and acquires more wisdom and dexterity to decipher and understand parables and metaphors in the parables of the wise and their deep sayings. The beginning of wisdom is the fear of Yahweh. The wicked despise wisdom and discipline. Hear, my son, the discipline of your father, and fight not the instruction of your mother. Up until there, we have studied, and the following text is number 9, that says in the Spanish RV 1960, which is a part of it, of number 8, because they will be a necklace about your neck and an ornament of grace unto thy head. So then the whole text would be, hear the instruction of thy father and forsake not the law of thy mother. For an ornament of grace shall there be unto thy head, and a chain about thy neck. This is a metaphor, a parable, that
Los que usan
It'll
corona
beautify
son los
you
reyes.
because jewels beautify. Because jewels give you royalty.
Si una persona es
Those that
rica,
use
se
a crown
pone
are the
más de un
kings.
collar, muchos collares. En el hebreo,
And
la
if a person
palabra
is rich,
corona
they
en tu
wear more than a
cabeza
chain, a
o
lot of
adorno de
chains.
gracia en tu
In Hebrew,
cabeza, que en
the
realidad
word
dice un estilo que se
crown
puede interpretar como corona,
on your head
es en singular.
or an
Una
ornament
sola
of
corona
grace
en tu
upon
cabeza
thy head.
vas a ser
Actually, it says
coronado de
a
gracia.
style that could be interpreted as crown
Y
is
los
singular.
collares son muchos.
One sole crown upon your head,
En las
you'll be
traducciones
crowned
se
with
pierde. La
grace.
Reina Valera respetó eso. El singular, corona de
And
gracia,
the
y el plural, muchos collares.
chains are many. The Spanish Harvey
Los
1960 respected that
sabios
crowned
judíos interpretan,
glory
y con
in the
justa
plural
razón me gusta su interpretación,
of many different
de
chains.
que la corona es singular
Now,
porque
the
es como
Jewish
una
wise
coronación
interpret,
de
and
gracia
with
y gloria.
I like their
No son
interpretation
varias,
actually,
pero
that
los
a crown is
collares
singular
se refieren
because it's kind
a
of
las
like a crowning
obras
of
que
grace
uno
and
va a
glory.
realizar. Y me parece
There's not many
correctamente.
different ones,
Pero
but
yo
the
voy más
chains
allá.
it's
La
referring
corona de
to
gracia
the
o el
works
adorno de
that you
gracia, que en
will
realidad es
take,
corona de gracia,
that you will do, and I find that to
vieron
be
como
correct.
dice
But I go
el
past
himno
that. The crown of grace,
argentino,
or
me parece
the
mejor.
adornment or the ornament, which is
Coronado
actually a
de
crown
gloria
of
viva.
grace. You know how
Y
the
para ser
anthem
coronado,
says,
tiene que ser una
the
corona.
Argentinian
Para ser
anthem,
una corona. Entonces, una sola corona.
crowned with glory, let us live.
Tanto la
And in order to be
disciplina del
crowned,
padre
it has to be a crown.
como
It
la
has to be a crown.
instrucción de la
So then one
madre
sole crown.
llegan a ser una corona, te corona.
Both the discipline of the father,
Tanto las escrituras,
as
que
the
es la
instruction of the
disciplina del
mother,
padre, y la instrucción de la
get to
madre,
be a crown. They
que
crown
es
you.
el Mashiach,
Both scriptures, which is
llegan
the
a ser
discipline of the
una
father,
corona en tu cabeza.
and the instruction
Y
of the
corona en tu
mother,
cabeza, la
which
cabeza
is
es la mente,
the Mashiach,
es el espíritu.
they get to be a
Entonces,
crown
tu
upon your head.
espíritu
And a crown upon thy head, the
eleva
head
al
is
de
the
un rey.
mind, it is the spirit.
Porque los reyes son
So
coronas.
then your
Entonces,
spirit
la instrucción de la madre
elevates to
y
that of
la
a king,
disciplina del
because the
padre,
kings are crowned. So then
el objetivo es
the
coronar.
instruction of the mother,
Por eso lo dice
the discipline of the
adorno de
father,
gracia, dice, pero es corona de gracia,
the objective
se van a tu
is to
cabeza,
crown you as a
y
king.
los
That is
collares
why
a
it
tu
says,
a tu cuello,
the
el
crown of
cuerpo
glory,
que
but
está
it is the
abajo de la
crown
cabeza,
of glory, it shall be upon
es
thy
el
head,
cuerpo. Es
and the
como
chains
la medicina
upon
germánica,
thy
que tenemos
neck is the
psique,
body that is
mente,
below the
psique,
head,
cerebro,
is the
órgano.
body.
Entonces, los
Kind of like the
collares
Germanic
están en tu
medicine that we
órgano,
have
están colgados en tu
psyche,
cuello, ya no es el
mind,
cerebro,
psyche,
y
mind,
significa
and
tu
organ.
cuerpo.
So then
Si tú te
the
coronas de gloria, tu
chains
espíritu,
are in your
tu
organ
mente,
because
tu
they're upon
cabeza
your
es
neck.
la
It's
cabeza
not the
de
brain
un
anymore, it
rey.
means your body.
Tus obras
If you crown
van
yourself
a
with glory, your
reflejar
spirit, your
las
mind,
obras
or
de
your
un
head,
sabio.
it is the head of a
Está muy
king.
bueno el texto, porque si tú
Your
te llenas tu
works
cabeza
will
de
reflect
sabiduría
the works
verdadera,
of a wise
muchos
man.
dicen ser sabios y
It
sus
is a very
obras
good
no
text
son
because
sabias,
if you
son una
fill your
mejor
head
que
with
la otra.
wisdom,
Pero los
true
collares
wisdom, because many
son
say they are wise and
las
their
obras.
works are not
Dijo
wise,
Yeshua, por sus
one is worth
frutos, por sus
than the
obras,
next,
los
but
conoceréis.
the
Entonces,
chains
si tú te
are the
coronas
works, like Yeshua
tu
said.
espíritu de un
By their
rey con la
fruits
sabiduría,
you shall know them. So then,
tus obras, tus collares,
if you crown
van
yourself,
a ser
your
uno
spirit,
más magnífico que el otro.
of a
Eso es
king
lo que
with
dice el
wisdom,
texto. Porque
then your works, your
oye, hijo,
chains,
la disciplina de
will
tu
be
padre,
one more
y no luches
magnificent
con la
than the next.
instrucción
That is
de
what the
tu
text
madre,
says. Because,
porque adorno de
hear, my son, the
gracia
discipline of your
serán a
father,
tu cabeza, o
and fight
corona
not
de
against the instruction of
gracia
thy mother,
será a tu
for
cabeza,
it is an
y
ornament of
a
grace upon
tu
thy head,
cuello.
or the crown
Recuerden,
of grace
sabiduría
it shall be upon thy head, and
singular a tu
chains
mente, y
unto
obras o
thy
frutos
neck.
plural en tu
Remember
cuerpo tuyo.
wisdom,
Si tú tienes una mente sabia,
singular to your mind, and
no es
works,
sabias, sino
or
una
your
mente
fruits, plural,
sabia,
in your body and mind. If you have a
de sabiduría,
wise mind,
tus obras
it is not,
van a ser
it is only
muchas
one
y van a ser
wise
espléndidas.
mind, one
Eso
crown
se refiere a los
of
collares
wisdom.
en plural.
Your works,
En las
will be
diferentes
many,
versiones no respetan
and they will be
el plural ni el
splendid.
singular,
That
y
is
se
what
pierde.
is referring to the
Pero
callers,
la Reina
plural.
Valera lo respeta, y
Now,
por eso
in the
menciona
different
para algunas
versions,
otras
they
traducciones,
don't respect
adorno de
plural or
gracia,
singular, and it
corona
is
de
lost.
gracia,
But the
serán a
Spanish
tu
RV
cabeza y
1960
collares a
respects
tu
it.
cuerpo.
That's why I didn't need any other translation. Ornament of
Y
grace,
ahí
or
termina.
crown of grace. They shall be unto thy head and chains unto
la
thy neck.
instrucción, la primera instrucción,
And that is
o
where
la
it
primer-
ends.
la primer, sí, instrucción de sabiduría.
The
y
instruction,
disciplina de
the
Salomón.
first
Y ahora
instruction,
avanzamos a
or the
otra.
first,
A
or the
otra
first, yes, instruction
que
of wisdom and
es muy
discipline
conocida.
of Solomon.
Solo
Now
que
we move on to
es
another
muy
one.
difícil
Another
hacerle entender a los
one,
jóvenes, es muy
which is
difícil,
very
muy
well
difícil.
known. It's just that it's
Yo
very
lo entendí de
difficult
joven
to make
y
the youth
también
understand.
vi
That's very
el
difficult, very difficult.
resultado de no obedecer esto.
I understood this
Es muy
as,
amplia
as
y es sencilla la
when I was
ley. No
young,
es
and
tan
I've also
complicada ni
seen the
profunda como la que
result
acabamos de estudiar,
of not
pero es
obeying this.
sencillo. Y también
It's
he
very
tomado
amplified
partes
and it's
también.
simple at the same time. It's
Se
not as
aplica
complicated or
muchísimas
deep
cosas. Vamos a leer
as what
el
we just
primer
studied,
10.
but it's simple. And
Hijo
also,
mío,
this goes onto the
si los
parents.
pecadores te
It
quisieren
is applied to
engañar,
many
no
things. Let us read the first
consientas.
10.
Bueno, esto es una muy mala
My son,
traducción. Se
if
podría
the
traducir
sinners
como
would
engañar,
want to
pero
deceive you, do not
si los
consent. That's a
pecadores
very
te
bad
quisieran
translation,
engañar,
actually.
no consientas. En primer lugar, si te
You
están
could translate it
engañando,
as deceiving,
no
but
está en ti que
if
consientas o no,
the
si no te
sinners
engañan
would
o
want
no,
to
en primer lugar.
deceive you, do not consent.
Uno no
First of all,
puede
if they're
decir,
deceiving you,
eh,
it is not
o
in
sea,
you
a ver
that
si
you
me
consent or
explico.
not, but rather
Esta
to allow
frase está
yourself to
muy
be deceived or
mala.
not. That's first of all. You cannot
Hijo
say,
mío, si los pecadores te quisieren engañar, no consientas. No,
in
por
other words, let's
supuesto
see if I
que cualquier
explain
persona,
myself,
cualquiera, si
because
te
this
quiere engañar,
expression
no
is
vas a
very wrong,
consentir. Eso
actually.
es obvio.
My
¿Quién
son,
quiere
if the
ser
sinners
consentido
would
en el
want to
engaño? Nadie, nadie. Ni los
deceive you,
malos ni
do
los
not
buenos.
consent. Well, of course
¿Me
not.
entiendes
If
lo
they
que
want
te
to
digo?
deceive you, if they want to deceive you,
sea,
you're not going to allow them. Who wants to
Evidentemente
be
no hace falta escribir esto.
consent, deceit?
Si
No
te
one,
quieren
no one.
vender
Not the good or the bad. You
algo que
understand
no
what I'm
ves
saying?
que es una basura, no lo
In other
compres. No hace
words,
falta decir no lo compres. No
evidently,
hace falta.
there's no need to
Si
write
te
that.
das cuenta que es
If
un
they want to
engaño,
sell something
nadie
to you
consiente.
that
Solo
you
lo
see that is
Hijo mío,
garbage,
si los
do not buy
pecadores
it.
te
There's
quisieren
no
engañar,
need to
no
say that.
consientas.
There's no
No
need.
me dice nada el
If
texto.
you see
Me
that as a
dice
deceit, no one
una
concedes.
estupidez.
Let me read
Una
this
estupidez
again.
que no
My
tiene
son,
sentido.
if the sinners
Pero
would
no
want to
dice eso el
deceive you,
texto.
do not consent.
En realidad no dice ni
The text
pecadores,
doesn't tell me anything. It
ni
says
tampoco
something
dice
stupid,
engañar.
something stupid that there's no need to even write. That's
Dice
not what the
otra
text
cosa.
says. Actually, it doesn't even say
La
sinners.
palabra es del
It also
diccionario
doesn't say
Strong,
to deceive.
H2400.
It says something else.
H2400.
Sinners,
La palabra
the
es
word,
jatá,
is in the Strong's Dictionary
La palabra es
H2400.
que en realidad
H2400, the word is
es
chata.
criminal.
The word is chata.
Criminal.
That actually,
Pasa que
chata
en el sentido bíblico,
is criminal. That is the
si
word,
tú pecas
criminal.
y rompes la ley, sos
It's
un
just that
criminal.
in the biblical
¿Por
sense,
qué? Porque la
if
ley
you
de
sin and you break the
Israel
law, you're criminal.
era la única ley que había. Era una
Why?
mezcla
Because
de religión y
the law
Estado.
of Israel
Entonces la
was the
Torá
only law there
no
was
solamente eran
it
las
was a
reglas
mixture
religiosas que si las
of
rompes no pasa
religion
nada. No, no.
and state.
Eran las reglas del
So then the
Estado.
Torah, it was not just the religious laws that if you break, nothing happens. No, no. It was the rules of the state.
Evidentemente, judicialmente, el gobierno no te hace
That's
nada,
something
el
else already.
gobierno. Dice,
So if you go to a religion, you break the
trabajé el
rules.
sábado, por ejemplo, si sos adventista, lo que sea.
Evidently, judicially, the government doesn't do anything. Government does.
Te puede condenar
This
el
and I
gobierno,
worked
no,
on,
claro que no.
on the Shabbat,
No
per
puse el
se,
diezmo en
if
la
you're an
iglesia.
Adventist or
El
something.
gobierno te va a condenar.
Government
No, te va a
says-
condenar si no pagas el tax, que es el diezmo de
Can
ellos.
the government condemn you? No, of course
Te va a
not.
condenar si robás.
I didn't
Entonces,
put
tenemos
my
que
tithes.
diferenciar lo que es
as
la
a good-
palabra
no.
criminal. La palabra criminal es
They'll go after you
romper
for
la
the
ley
text and for the
establecida.
tithes.
Esto tradujeron,
So then we can
Pecador,
differentiate what the
porque
word
pecador es
criminal
romper
is.
la
The
ley
word
también.
criminal means to
pero
break
la
the law,
ley
the established law.
religiosa. Nunca
They
el Estado dice,
translated
"Usted es un pecador
sinner
porque no
because
pone-
a sinner
no
is to
paga
break the
los
law
taxes".
also.
No, no. Usted es un
But
pecador
the
porque
religious
robó,
law, that
entonces
is,
ahora me lo llevo preso. No te va a decir la palabra
the
pecado,
state
te va a
never
decir
can
la
say you're a
palabra,
sinner because you
usted
don't
cometió un
pay your
crimen,
taxes.
por
No.
ejemplo.
You're a sinner
Un
because you
delito.
stole, and now I'm going
Delincuente.
to take you to
Criminal y
prison. No, it's not
delincuente.
going to use the word sinner. It's going to use
Entonces,
the word, it
¿qué
says
es un
you have
crimen?
committed a crime,
Romper
for
la ley.
example.
Porque es un
A
crimen
crime,
pasar
a
un
delinquent.
semáforo rojo,
Criminal and
No
delinquent,
es un
same thing.
delito, es un crimen. Porque si
So
yo
then
llego
what is a
afuera y
crime?
los
To
mato,
break the
¿no es un
law.
crimen eso? Es un
Because it is a
crimen. Es
crime
un crimen,
to
pero no es un pecado. Entonces
Go-
tenemos que empezar, no dice
to not
pecadores.
go,
Dice
to
es
not stop when it's red,
criminales
because
o
if you hit somebody and you kill them, it's a
Entre las
crime.
dos yo preferí
So then we have to start
que sea
with,
más-
it doesn't
más
say
sencillo,
sinners.
criminal.
What it says is
El
criminals
diccionario dice
or delinquents.
jatá, criminal,
Between the
pecado,
two,
de
I
criminal. Viene de la
prefer,
palabra
in my version,
criminal.
for it to be easier,
Alguien
criminals.
detenido por culpable.
Dictionary says chata,
Después dice
criminal,
pecador.
directly criminal.
No,
It has
no,
the word
ese pecador
criminal.
lo pueden tachar, no es pecador. Es
Something
criminal,
that's had
no es
that
pecador.
you
Porque
have as if
si
being
es adventista esto, dice, no te
guilty.
juntes con los
Sinner, you
que-
can cross that out. It's not
con
a
los
sinner,
que
it's
no vienen a
criminal.
la iglesia que son
It's not a
pecadores. No te
sinner.
juntes con los que no guardan el Shabbat,
Because
son pecadores.
if an Adventist were to read this, just don't get together with those that don't come to church and they're sinners.
No es pecado.
Or those that don't keep Shabbat because they're sinners. Don't get
¿Entendiendo? Y
together with
ya
those
nos
that
ha
insult Alan Zweig because
Hijo
they're
mío,
extremely
si los
sinners.
criminales
It's not a
o
sinner, it is
delincuentes
criminal. That's the
te
word.
quisieren
Very well.
engañar, no
Having
consientas.
understood that, it
La
starts to
palabra engañar
change.
no va ahí.
My son,
Si yo
if
veo
the
un
criminals
criminal
or delinquents
que ya lo identifico a un
who want to
criminal,
deceive
yo
you,
sé
do
que
not
me viene
consent.
a
Once again, the word
engañar o a robar.
to deceive doesn't go there. If I see a criminal,
Hay algo mal, hay algo mal
if
en
I
este
identify
texto,
him
no
as
es
a
engañar.
criminal,
Ok, la
I know he
palabra
comes to me
engañar, que fue
to deceive or
traducido como engañar,
to
es
steal.
H
There's no need
6601, que es
for it to
la palabra
not
en
say
hebreo,
to not
patá.
consent. Okay, the word to
significa
deceive was
patá?
translated there
Patá
incorrectly.
significa-
It was
No,
H6601
muchas cosas
is the word in Hebrew,
en
patah.
hebreo. Significa abrir,
What does
¿qué?
patah mean?
Espacioso,
Patah means,
por lo general,
well, it means many
figurativamente
things.
en un sentido mental o moral, ser
As in Hebrew, it means to
simple,
open what?
engañar.
Spaciously,
Ok, ahí estamos
generally,
entendiendo.
figuratively,
Por eso lo que
in a
engañar,
mental
pero
or
no-
moral
No solamente
sense,
engañar,
to be simple,
deducir,
to deceive.
aplacar,
Okay, there we're
codiciar o
understanding this.
codicioso,
That's why they
engañar,
translated it
engrandecer.
as deceiving, not just deceiving,
engrandecer.
but also
¿Cómo el hebreo
to
puede decir,
jump
hay
to
una
a
palabra
conclusion
igual
or
para
to
engañar y
covet,
otra para
to
engrandecer?
deceive, to
Wow.
make great, to make
Incauta,
great.
inducir,
How can Hebrew
infatuar,
says that there's a work that's
lisonjear?
equal to deceive and to make great?
Bueno, y faltan
Wow.
algunos significados en acá, porque también significa que es
And
halagar,
cautious
que es lisonjear,
to
que es
be
más o menos.
lying and deceiving. There's other
Lisonjear,
meanings here.
inducir,
It also
infatuar.
means
Bien. Como no es preciso el hebreo,
to be,
pero lo que no es patá
To
es
flatter.
engañar realmente.
to
En un
infatuate.
sentido sí, pero no es
Since it's
engañar.
not precise,
Este texto no dice engañar.
but what is not
sino
patah
este
is to
texto
actually
dice
deceive.
seducir
In a sense, yes, it is, but it's not to deceive. So then this text does not say to deceive, but actually this
Hijo
text
mío,
says
si los
to
criminales
seduce
te quisieran
or
seducir,
to
no consienta. Ahí ya
flatter. So then I'll start to read
cambió.
that. My
Porque un
son,
criminal, tú ya lo
if
identificas como
the
criminal,
criminals would want to seduce you, do
entonces
not
la palabra no sería
accept.
engañar,
It
sino
changes there.
seducir o
The
halagar.
criminal, you already identify him as a
Las
criminal.
dos, y las dos van perfectas. Y también
Then
seduciendo,
the word would not be to
seducirte
deceive, but
halagando.
to seduce
Seducirte
or
halagándote.
to
¿Y cómo
flatter.
te puede
They're
halagar
both
un
perfect.
criminal?
Also by seducing,
Acá te explica.
seducing
¿Cómo
you
te puede
by
halagar un criminal?
flattering
Esto
you.
no lo veas solamente como
Seducing
un
you by
criminal,
flattering. How can a
sino
criminal
como
flatter you?
cualquier persona
Here it explains it,
que
how a
comete
criminal can
delitos.
flatter you. But
¿Y qué
don't
son
just
los
see this
delitos?
just like a criminal,
Malas personas.
but like
No tiene
any
que ser
person
directamente un criminal.
that
Si esto,
is a criminal. What are
lo
crimes?
entendieran
Bad
todos
people.
los jóvenes,
They don't have to be directly
no
a criminal.
existirían las gangas,
If
por
this,
ejemplo.
if
No
this
existirían,
were to
los-
be understood by all the
todo
youth,
tipo
all of them,
de
then gangs would not exist, for example.
criminales de jóvenes,
They
que
would
son
not,
las pandillas.
you would not have all types of
Pero no solamente eso, sino
movements,
que
criminal
nosotros
movements
como
of the youth,
padres
which are
no
gangs.
me enviaríamos
But not just
nuestros
that, but that
hijos,
we, as parents, would not send our children to the schools because we know that it's full of criminals
por lo
there,
menos
or at least
malvivientes, porque los padres
criminals
son
because the
malvivientes.
parents are
Ahí,
criminals.
ahí se junta todo.
That is where everything gets
Entonces,
together.
Son tantos
So
los
then,
detalles de este
the details
texto.
are so
Pero,
many
por lo
in
menos
this text,
Salomón
but
lo
at least
toca.
Solomon touches on
Entonces
it.
dice,
So then it
y lo voy a
says,
leer en las
I'll
Torres
read it
Samad,
in the
el mismo
Torres
texto,
Samad, same text.
Proverbios 1:10,
Proverbs
Torres Samad.
1:10,
Hijo
Torres
mío,
Samad, my son,
por más que te halaguen los
even
pecadores,
if the sinners
no consientas
flatter
con
you,
ellos.
do not
Mucho
consent
mejor traducido.
with them. It's a
Solamente
better,
tenés
way
que cambiar
better
ahí. Por
translation.
más que te
I just have to
halaguen
change
los
there. Even if the
criminales,
criminals flatter you,
consientas con ellos.
do not condescend
Pero
with them.
vieron que ya no es
You
engañar,
see how it's
sino
no longer
halagar,
to
por
deceive,
supuesto.
but to
Porque
flatter, of
engañar
course,
no es.
because to deceive is not.
Vamos a la Jerusalén 2001.
Let's go to the
Proverbios
Jerusalem
1:10.
2001, Proverbs 1:10.
Hijo mío,
My son,
si los pecadores, que en
if the
realidad
sinners,
son
which actually we
criminales,
already know it's criminals,
si
I'll
los
read it as criminals. If the
intentan
criminals
camelearte,
try to
¿qué es
deceive you,
intentar
what is
camelear?
it to try to
¿qué es
deceive you?
camelear? Inducir,
To induce you
halagándote.
by
Camelear es
flattering
que
you.
vos servís para
Oh,
esto,
you're
vos
good
sos
at
tan
for
bueno,
this,
venís,
you're so
no
good,
sabes
come
las
here,
cosas
you
que
don't know
vamos
the
a
things that we're
lograr,
going to
te
achieve.
necesitamos porque
We
vos tenés
need
un
you because you
talento,
have a talent.
vas a ganar mucho dinero. Todo
You're going to win
eso
so
es
much money.
camelearte.
All that is to flatter you. We don't use that word that they used in Spanish here. It's ancient Spanish, but I understand it either way. If the sinners or the criminals try to flatter you, do not accept. In the textual Bible, Proverbs 1:10 textual Bible, it says, my son. In the perverse, well, it didn't use sinners, but perverse. I liked it a little more, but it's not exactly the same thing, but it's better. If the wicked want to seduce you, here I have the word also to flatter you and seduce. Those are the things that actually want to be translated, but it's not to deceive. My son, if the wicked want to seduce you, do not concede. So then, this text should be translated as the eternal truth. I have to revise it, whether I leave it like that, but I'll read it to you like this. In the eternal truth, it would say, my son, if the criminals wish to entice thee, consent thou not. I added both because I like them both, to seduce and to flatter. I like both of them. Hebrew is so not precise. I like to be more precise than what actually the text is saying. Very well. But all this comes in the way that the criminals want to seduce you. If they were to say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood, let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause. I'll read it to you in the 2001 version, Proverbs 1:11. If they were to tell you, come with us, let us lay a mortal snare and lurk privily against the innocent, not in the New Living Translation. Maybe they say, come with us, let us hide and kill someone, just for fun, let's ambush the... I'm not going to give too much explanation of this, because Solomon, I think he's thinking what was common in those days, and the way that these criminals acted to steal. They would lay ambush, like the story of the Good Samaritan. They would lay ambush, and they'd all of a sudden ambush someone without any warning. They would spring upon the victims, and they would kill them. They would kill them, or just leave them wounded and steal everything. That is the way it is. They still use that now, but there's many different ways of being bad people without killing the victims. So then, this is all applied that when someone comes to flatter you, you have to understand what the motive is by which they are flattering you, because it's most likely that they want to take you to their way of being and their way of acting, or to seduce you so that you do something that starts to make you deviate from your path. And that takes place at work. Don't even mention at school. Don't even mention it. In the youth, it is very difficult. I can teach this. It was already written. It's very easy. Let me see who you roll with, and I'll tell you who you are. Simple as that. If you roll with evil people, you're evil. You can't roll with good people if you're evil. Things that Solomon gives you a secret, which is a command. I'll read it to you. Of what you have to do. What you have to do, and this is determining. If you don't do this, then you'll fall into the snare. Okay, it's an inevitable snare. It's happened to me. I've had friends or no acquaintances that they have tried to take me via bad paths by seducing me or showing me good things that we could do, and one or another that you can experience doing bad things when you were little. You would never have tried it, but because you have those friends, and the friends are there since you're with them, you do things that you would never have done on your own. One of those is alcohol. If you get together with drunkards,
Si tú te juntas con borrachos,
Don't try to be sober because you'll end up like that. It's like you drink, I drink. If you get
un trago ellos y así estamos.
along
Si te
with
juntas con mujeres
misogynist
y te van
men
a seducir
that
hasta que te
are
acuestes con
players,
una mujer
they're going to convince you to
no tiene nada que ver
lay
contigo.
with another woman that's
Seas
not your
soltero o
wife because
casado,
you're
no
in
es
the
tampoco.
same
Porque estás en
circle
ese
of
ambiente.
friends.
Y en ese ambiente
That's
de
why I take this to
no tiene que
every
ser
level.
pequeño.
If you have a
Por
group
eso
of
yo llevo a
friends,
todos
and when they
lados.
get together,
Si tú tienes un
all they
grupo de
talk about is
amigos
women.
que cuando se juntan a hablar, lo único
You
que
cannot
hablan
have
es de
that
mujeres.
circle of friends. You can't.
Tú no puedes tener ese
'Cause
grupo de amigos. No
That
puedes tener.
speech,
Porque
a conversation
esa
about women,
conversación de
is going to
mujeres va a
make
hacer que
you
tú empieces
desire the
a
women that they
desear
influence you in
las
life.
mujeres
Don't
que
expect to
ellos te
change
van
them. You're not going to
influyendo en
change
la
them.
vida. No pretendas cambiarlos a ellos.
So what do you
no
have to
los vas a
do?
cambiar.
Not to get together with them.
Entonces, ¿qué
Is
tienes
the
que hacer?
easy
No juntarte
determination.
con ellos.
Don't get
Es
together with them.
determinación fácil que te
It's
voy a
just that
hacer.
Solomon says the
No
criminal,
juntarte
but
con ellos. Solo que Salomón
add
pone
many more
que
things to that.
mira,
I'll
yo
advance more than
muchas
Solomon.
más cosas que
People
mira, avanzo mucho más que Salomón.
that dedicate
Personas
themselves to talk about things that you
que se
would not
dedican
want to
a
talk
hablar de
about.
cosas
Don't
que
get
tú no
along with
quisieras
them.
hablar.
Not
No te juntes con ellas.
players,
Ni con
womanizers,
ni con
drug
alcohólicos,
addicts,
ni con
because you're going
drogadictos,
to end up just like them.
porque tú vas a
Inevitably
terminar
speaking,
igual
there's
que
no
ellos,
escape.
indefectiblemente.
If you have
No hay
friends that
salida.
like to speak
Tú tienes
about all the
amigos
women that
que
they've
les
laid
gusta
with and
hablar,
the ones that
y
they're
con
going to lay
todas
with,
las
what are you
chicas
going
que
to
se
speak about?
acostaron y de
What are you
las
going
que
to
se van
speak
a
about?
acostar, ¿de qué vas a hablar tú?
That you're the
¿De
Mashiach?
qué le vas a hablar? De que tú eres el
What are you going to
Mashiach.
talk to them about? That the earth is flat? They
¿De qué
could
vas
care
a hablar? Que
less.
la tierra es plana. Si no le importa un
They
carajo.
just like to speak
Lo
about
único que le
things that
importa
you
es
know
hablar de cosas
that
que
will
tú
take you
sabes
down that
que
path.
te van
If
a
you
llevar
get
por esa vida.
together with friends that
Si
drink,
tú te juntas con
why do they get
amigos
together
que
for? To
toman,
drink.
¿para qué
So
se
then what are
juntan?
you doing there for? You have to,
Entonces, ¿qué
if
haces
you
tú
want to
ahí?
be wise,
Los tienes que, los
you have to
tienes, si
eliminate
quieres
them
ser
as friends.
sabio, lo tienes
Those
que
that
eliminar
take
de
you
amigos.
down that
A los que te
bad
llevan
conduct.
por
If you have
esa
friends that
mala
and all they speak
conducta.
about is
Si tú
soccer
tienes
and they like
amigos que
soccer,
lo único que hablan
there's
es del
not
fútbol y
something
les gusta el
that is
fútbol,
harmful there
no hay
for you
algo
to
de
speak
ahí
about
que
soccer
hable de
because
eso.
it's not a subject that you
Porque
feel
no es
that
un
it will
tema
take you down a path
que
that you
tú
should not
sientes
go.
que te va a llevar por un camino que no
But if you
quieres
get
ir.
together
Pero si tú te
because of things
juntas
that you
con
know that you should avoid,
cosas que
like
tú sabes
falling
que tienes que
into
evitar, como caer
any substance that's addictive,
en cualquier sustancia adictiva,
because even if you're not addicted to alcohol,
porque aunque
just
tú no
because
estés
you're with
adicto al
them,
alcohol,
it comes
al
to
estar con
everyone.
ellos, la ronda viene pareja
And
para
if you
todos.
don't drink and you get drunk, you're
Y
an
si
idiot because
tú
you
no
can't even
tomas y
speak
ellos
with
se
them.
emborrachan, eres un estúpido, no
No
sabes
one
ni-
that's
ni
not
puedes
drunk
hablar
wants to
con ellos.
be around drunkards.
Nadie que no esté borracho que está con borrachos.
Drunkards understand each other,
Entre
but not
borrachos se entiende.
sober people around
Pero no
drunkards.
entre
No,
personas
tell them to
sobrias y
fuck off.
borrachos.
You understand what I'm
Que se
saying?
vayan a la mierda los borrachos. ¿Me
So then
entiendes?
you have
Porque
to
te digo,
submerge
entonces
yourself,
tú
whether you
te
want it or
tienes que
not, in their
sumergir
world.
aunque no quieras
Don't
al
ever
mundo
think
de
that you're going
ellos.
to take them from that world,
Y
okay?
jamás piense
None
que tú vas a
whatsoever.
sacarlos
You're going to
de
get
ese
into their
mundo.
world.
Para nada. Tú te
The
vas a
most
meter
probable
al mundo de
thing
ellos.
is you'll end up like them.
Y lo más
So then what do you have to
probable
do?
que
Eliminate
termines
them.
igual que ellos.
Don't have
Entonces,
those
¿qué tienes que
friends.
hacer?
Look for other
Eliminarlos. No
friends.
tenés
It's
un
simple as
amigo,
that.
buscate otros amigos.
They don't have to be a
Es así.
criminal. They have to be a criminal.
No tiene que ser un criminal. Tiene
That
que ser un
is-
criminal en potencia.
For me,
para-
it's a
para-
criminal.
para mí eso ya
In
es
what
un
I understand.
criminal.
And what my justice is. You
En lo
understand
que
what
yo
I'm saying?
entiendo,
Very
en
well.
lo que es mi justicia. ¿Me
So
entiendes?
then-
Lo que yo les digo. Bien.
Of course, I'm not going to get
Entonces,
together with
por
people.
supuesto que yo no me voy a juntar con
It
gente
says, hey, let's kill a
que
person.
quiero
Who
que
don't
ustedes
care?
digan, "Hey,
You have to
vamos
be
a matar a
very
una persona". ¿Quién
stupid
carajo
to
te
say,
importa?
hey, let's
Ese
kill
es
this
muy
person.
estúpido, para que te juntes
If
con
we
amigos
kill
y
them,
dices, "Sí,
we'll have
vamos a
nothing to
matar a
do.
esta
We'll
persona", y
take all
la
their money.
matamos, no tenemos nada que
You
hacer
have
y
to
lo
be an
robamos y nos
idiot to be
juntamos todos.
seduced by that.
Tienes que ser
This is
un
just an
estúpido para que
example.
te seduzcan con eso. Esto
I
es un
can
ejemplo.
give you more real
Estos
examples.
ejemplos
This is
mucho
real
más reales.
too. Careful, this is
Esto
real
es real
too.
también. Cuidado que esto es real.
But more that they
Pero
can have with
más
you.
que
A relation.
puedan tener contigo,
Alcoholic people,
una relación.
womanizers.
Personas alcohólicas,
Right there,
personas
it is very
mujeriegos.
clear.
O sea, ya está. Ahí-
There's
ahí
no need for
lo
them to
tenés
say,
bien
let's
clarísimo.
kill someone.
No hace falta que
They
te
can
digan,
say,
"Vamos a
let us
matar a
go do
alguien".
this and do
Puedes
that.
decir, "Vamos a
It's not
hacer
convenient
esto,
right there.
vamos a
Just like
hacer
that,
lo
it's not
otro". Ya
convenient.
ahí ya no te conviene. Así, no te conviene.
There's no need to
No hace falta
go
más
deeper into that. Also, not to translate it. It's perfect.
y
12.
tampoco traducirlo
Let
todo.
us swallow them alive like the grave.
Los
Let's
tragaremos
swallow them
vivos en el-
whole
como
like
el
those
Seol
who go
y
down to the pit of death.
como
Talking
los
about the
que
same thing.
caen en
I don't
un
even need to
abismo.
translate
Siguen
this.
hablando lo mismo, no falta
let's
literatura
take
científica, no
advantage
está
of them,
diciendo,
and for
vamos
them
a
to not even
aprovecharnos de
notice.
eso,
It's
vamos
all
a
the same
matarnos, y
example.
que ni se den cuenta. Pero es todo el mismo
I'll
ejemplo que
translate
pone
this and I
Salomón,
tell you,
que pone
let
Salomón.
us drink
Yo esto lo traduzco y le digo a
these
ustedes, vamos a
36
tomarnos estos
36 of beer
36
cases.
de
I was going to say
cerveza.
kisses. These
Iba a decir
36
cases, pero no
cans
lo
of
voy.
beer. We have
Estos
this. We have
36
4
latas de
whiskeys.
cerveza. Tenemos esto, tenemos 4
Or
botellas
we
de
have one.
whisky,
Same
vamos a
thing.
darle.
Exactly the same
Otra vez
thing.
tenemos vino, es lo mismo, es
To
exactamente
get
lo
together
mismo.
in a bar. What are you doing in a
juntarse en
bar
un bar.
where there's
No, ¿qué
whores?
haces en un bar?
Not a bar where you
Dentro
take
de tu-
your.
un bar que
Already
si
a
vas
bar
comer,
already sounds kind of.
ya bar suena
I don't know what
así.
you understand as a
No sé
bar,
si
but it's not a
entiende
place where a
tipo de
wise
bar,
man
pero
is.
no es un lugar
A wise
donde
man
un
who wants to
sabio
drink
está.
something, he buys his bottle and he
Un
drinks
sabio
it
si quiere tomar algo, va y
whatever
se
he
compra
wants
una
at home,
botella y se la
but not in a
toma
bar.
lo que quiere en su casa.
A wise man doesn't go
Pero
to
no
a
en
bar
un
to
bar.
drink. A wise man doesn't do that,
No
but
va
an
un
idiot
sabio
does
para
that.
tomar, eso
A
no hace
criminal
un
like
sabio, eso
these,
hace un necio.
in this sense of the
Un
word.
criminal como esto,
13.
en este sentido, ¿no?
But what is the
13.
what they were trying
Pero ¿cuál es
what they were
lo que estaban
trying to
intentando?
seduce you with?
¿Con qué estaban
We will
intentando
find
seducir?
riches of all types.
Hallaremos riquezas de toda
We
clase.
shall fill our houses with spoil. Of course, in this same thing, spoils would be for us to steal
Despojos serían
from
lo
someone.
que les
If
robemos
they
al
seduce
tipo,
you
o
with
sea,
women, they'll say,
asegurar
look,
todo.
we're going to find
Si
women
te
of all
seducen con
types.
mujeres, van a decir, mira, vamos a encontrar
Because you have to
mujeres,
translate
¿sabes?
this
Porque
to
tú
your
tienes que
problems
traducir
of your
esto
friends,
a
or what
tu
life
problema de tus amigos.
makes you
Por lo que
bear.
la vida
We shall
te
fill
haga
our
llenar.
houses with spoils
Llenaremos nuestras
and
casas de
fill
despojos.
our life of women
Llenaremos
experiences.
nuestra vida de
And this is so
mujeres, de
common because they can
experiencias.
invite you to a birthday party
Porque te pueden invitar a
that
un
you could go
cumpleaños
perfectly well and it's all fine. But if you know that that birthday, they're all one worse than the next, what are you going there for? It's not about a girl. It's a birthday of friends that they're all men going to get together. It's not convenient. It's not being wise. You're not wise if you go there. 14. I'm not going to look for any more depth into this. Let's go to 14. Cast the lot among us. Risk it with us. Let us all have one purse. It says everything that we have will have in common. The booty that we'll steal, we'll spread it. It says that we're not telling you that you're not going to have some. No, what we get together, we'll spread it. We'll have one purse. We'll divide it amongst ourselves. This could also be many different things. Drug sales, sale of stolen things, so many things that you've done in life that are outside of the law, which are already at a criminal level, that they may or may not seduce you. There's all types of advices here. That's why it started with this. For example, if you didn't understand this text in the New Living Translation, Proverbs 1:14 says, come, join us. We'll share the loot. It says, don't you worry, we'll give you your just part. Whatever we get, we'll divide it with everyone. 15. My son, don't go along with them. Stay away from their paths. This is the text that I tell you. That is the solution. The solution is not just to say no, but rather to not walk in the path with them. In other words, they have one path in life. It could be a part of your family. It could be your family. They have one path. You have to draw away from them. There's no turn of the page. You can't go with them. That happens at your job. You have to change your job. If that happens in your family, you have to leave there. There's no other solution. You can't still walk in their path. If that happens in your neighborhood, then leave there. You have to move. You have to move. If that happens in your friends, then stop being friends with them entirely. Say, look, I don't want you to write to me, speak to me, nothing. I don't even want to go with you or anything. Just do your life and I don't even know you. Just like that. That is what it is to not be in the path with them, to not be in their path or after them. Don't think. Says, I'm not going to do what with them, but I'll just get along because I like them. No. That is what's difficult. It says, draw away from their paths. If you know they're in a different place, you can't set foot there. That is not the advice. Be careful. No. It says you have to separate yourself. You see them, you cross to the other side. I couldn't be any clearer than that. You have to break away with that. That is the advice of a wise man. My advice when you have friends that are not good for your life in any aspect. In any aspect. It could be, there's no need for them to be a criminal. If you have a friend that uses you to tell you all the problems, and you are the shoulder to cry in. It's not friends to have fun. No, no, no. They come and tells you what happens, everything with about what that happens. There comes a point when they tell you it's not convenient to have that friend. He just uses you to put all his problems upon you. It's not a friendship that is constructive for you. To top it off, he fills it with his problems that you don't even listen to. Whatever problems he has. Tells you the problems he has with women, with his wife, with this and that, his addictions. You don't even want to listen to that. So what do you have to do? Just draw away from him, just like that, draw away from his path. Draw away from his path. It is clear. If it happens in your family, what do you have to do? Then draw away from your family. When I got married, my family wasn't in paths that they were good people. They were not, but I drew away from them because I married Leslie. Says now I want my own lineage. I don't want more anything to do. I even prohibited them from visiting me. I know that you're not going to understand me because you still have that so about the family. It's so engraved in you. It's in your blood. But I'm trying to teach you that actually you have to break away with them. Break away with them no matter if your dad is the best in the world. You see him now and then, but it's to break away. Because you have to build your palace, your empire, your land, your house. To top it off, you have to learn from me how to have a good home. You have to instruct your wife to everything that I explained to you this morning. And if you do everything that I told you, you have a home that's fabulous. Fabulous. You have to be very, very wise in every everything that is turning in your home has to be at a perfection. Your design, your plan, it has to be perfect. But you have to draw away. You have to draw away from that, period. You have to draw away from that. Don't see it only as the criminals that Solomon says that want to kill. No, just whomever the death one wants to imprison you for your soul, your joy, whatever. Same thing. Same thing. We're talking about wisdom there. We apply it in the form in which it is relevant to our lives. If you have problems with real criminals that seduce you, actually, I tell you, then fuck off. Oh, you're thinking about a group that says, no, you know what, don't come here to the eternal truth anymore. Don't even consider what Solomon says as if that were your problem. Wow, don't even come here anymore. We're at a different level here. So in that other level that I'm not dealing with criminals, I teach you to adapt the words of Solomon. The negative things in your life, you have to draw away, whether it's your family, whether you're annoying friends, problematic friends that make you lose something in your life. They're negative. If they're negative, they're criminals. See it that way. Or else this teaching is no good if you have criminal friends. Do not be in their path. Walk away from them, and to all the youth, children, and parents, I tell you, don't get along with the friends in your hood. They are criminals. They have a different education. You have to protect your children. Children are seduced easily. They don't think clearly. Things are not too clear for them. And whatever criminal act seduces them, like also homosexuality can seduce them to be touched. For them to tell them, look at what I got. We got this girl, it'll seduce them. It'll seduce them. Drugs will. All the bad things. Like the child or the young man does not have that mind to say no, no, no. Then the father, the parents have to protect them. When they're older, then you'll have to experience, and if you make a mistake, it'll be your problem. But at least under my responsibility as a father, I do not allow my children to get together with anybody. No, I do not allow them. Because the only thing they'll learn are things that precisely I fought against for them not to have. They destroy your children in a second. Just like that, in a second. In a second. A little older, they go with their friends, they drink alcohol, they go in the car, they kill each other. They kill themselves. What happened? Because the fathers that would let them go out. What did the parents have to let them go out to dance? Their daughter to go out and dance? No, you're 18 years old and then go whatever the fuck you want, but not before. Before that, you don't, because I say so. That's it. No matter if you're 17 years old, you don't go out, you idiot, you son of a bitch. I didn't have that problem, nor even to apply it to my children, but all of you have to apply it. If a 15 years old girl, she starts dating someone, the responsibility is the parents. They're idiots that allow them to have those types of things in the children. They don't have to allow that. The father says, no, you're not going to date until you are 18, and then you can do whatever you want. You can fuck the whole neighborhood if you want, but as long as you're not 18, you're not going to date anyone. That's normal for me. It's absolutely normal. Then later you can lay with the whole world if you like it. It's not going to bring you any benefit, but it's your problem already. I'm not going to condemn you, nor prohibit that for you. It is your own experience. It's your experience. If things turn out bad, then I'll help you. But before you're 18, it's prohibited. Just like that, prohibited. Because I'm your father, and it's prohibited. That's it, it's over. You don't date, go with the neighbors, or you don't go out. That's it, it's over. Look, it's as simple as that. It's very simple. But it depends with the parents. So then maybe they go crying, I don't want to go out. They don't go out. When you're 18, then become the whore that you want or whatever you want in the whole neighborhood. I won't condemn you. I won't condemn you. But that is already out of my responsibility. You're my responsibility now. It's as simple as that. That is why sometimes I see the 14-year-old girls, 15 in Facebook here and there. A whole bunch of you dating and posting stupid shit. Wow. No one should be dating they're under 18. That's the way I see it. We're not in the time of Abraham that they would get married at 13 years old. Become like animals, I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way. 13, 12 years old, I don't see that. And the woman has to be taken care of. Why? Because they're all pretty stupid. And men also, okay, the men. But once they get to a certain age, then after a certain age, okay, do whatever stupidity you want to do, but it's no longer my responsibility. Tell them, I'm not going to carry you. If they kill you, they do whatever, they violate you, whatever, if you don't like it, that's your problem. That is your problem. That's part of what you're going to have to experience, but don't tell me that I didn't take care of you. So then, 18 is what's legal. 18 is what's legal. So then where are we going to be playing? No, 16. No, 18 is what's legal. Until you're 18, I won't let you date. That's it, it's over. They won't date. I won't let them date. No matter if it's... I don't let them date. I don't let her... Not even the possibility of... This is what about online? Let her watch whatever she wants online. But the real chance of going and stepping outside and for them to be touching her, whether she wants to or not, will not happen. It will not happen. I'm also not going to bring some uncle or friend or someone that it could be done in my house. Wow, that's not going to happen. Two things will happen. She's not going to go on her own, nor is someone going to come here and can endanger her. It's the responsibility of the parents. All of you that allow people to live, uncles or whatever, your nephews or whatever, it's your own fault. Just like that, your own fault. All those that remarry and they bring men and they have women, daughters, this is your fault. I can't say anything else. It is your fault. It is because the mother's fault that she brought some guy to touch her children, It is
Porque
her
es su
fault.
protección.
Make that very
Que
clear.
claro,
Because
eso.
later,
Y
no,
después,
what happened?
no,
No,
lo que me pasó, no te
nothing
pasó
fucking
nada.
happened to you. You
No,
didn't
porque
protect
hiciste lo
enough. It is your
suficiente.
own
Es tu
fault.
culpa.
That's it. It's over.
Se
It's your
acabó, es
fault.
tu culpa.
Okay.
Ok.
So then, what was I
Entonces,
saying?
estaba diciendo
Okay,
acá.
yeah. This is where it was. We
Tenemos
have
que
to
apartarnos de las sendas
go away
malas.
from
Y
the
yo le
bad
digo a los
past and to tell the
jóvenes,
youth,
le digo a los jóvenes,
you have an entire
tienen toda
life
la
to
vida
do
para hacer
whatever
lo
you
que
want. Do
quieran.
not
No se apuren porque son bobos, son
hasten
tontitos.
because you're
Antes de los
idiots.
18 son
Before you're 18, you're
bastante
pretty stupid.
estúpidos.
You're idiots.
Tontos, idiotas.
Why do you have to be so
¿Por qué
offensive?
son tan ofensivos?
Okay,
Ok, inexpertos.
inexperienced. Let's use that word,
Inexpertos,
inexperienced.
inexpertos.
You
No
cannot
no
think.
pueden pensar.
There's
Por algo la
a
licencia de
reason
manejar se
why
saca a los
it's
18
you have to be
años,
18 to get your
eso es lo
license.
mínimo.
Maybe it's the very least
Porque
because
antes
before
uno tiene cada vez
you're
es más
more
temerario
daring
y aprieta el
and you
acelerador más
step on the
fuerte. Hay
gas
más
and there's
chance
more
que uno se
chances of you
mate
killing
de
yourselves
los
when you're
18
18 to 25
25
driving
manejando
than
que
later
más tarde.
because you're
Porque
more
uno toma más
conscious. The
conciencia.
older
Mientras
you
más
are, the
grande,
more
más
conscious you
conciencia uno
are.
va.
The more conscious you are.
Conciencia y más conciencia.
So then, I, okay?
Yo,
I do not
no
approve,
apruebo,
nor do I say,
ni digo este noviazgo.
my two
Mis
sisters
dos
got married.
hermanos se casaron,
They
se
started
pusieron de
dating
novio a
at
los 15,
15,
se
they got
casaron
married
a los
16 and
16,
17.
17.
With someone that's
Con alguien
Adventist that
adventista
I
que
don't know
no
if
sé
my
si le
mom
dijeron
chose
mamá o
or
si
they
le dijeron
chose
ustedes.
themselves. Both
Las
of them
dos
were
fueron un
an
rotundo
extreme
fracaso.
failure,
Así,
an extreme
rotundo
failure.
fracaso.
My two
Mis
sisters
dos hermanas
with
con
their
sus vidas
lives destroyed.
destruidas.
Why?
¿Por qué?
Because my parents
Porque mis
were
padres
people
fueron
that did not
personas que
understand
no
this.
entendieron esto.
They didn't understand
No
it. They didn't
entendieron,
understand
no
it.
entendieron.
Out of me,
De mí
they
me
prophesized me.
profetizaron.
You,
Vos,
since you
como
listen to
escuchas
heavy metal,
como
since you're
no
not so
sos tan
religious,
religioso,
since you're a
como sos un
disaster,
desastre,
and
y
since we
como
know you,
te conocemos,
you're
no
not
vas a
gonna
durar ni
last
3
not even
meses
3
casado.
months
Bueno,
married.
ya
How long
¿cuántos
have we
años llevamos?
been married? 34 years.
34 años.
33
No,
years,
33
right?
cumplimos. O sea,
This is number
estamos en el
34.
34.
We're,
Cumplimos
we
33 y más fuerte que
we're
nunca.
33 and stronger than ever.
Entonces,
So then,
la
wisdom is
sabiduría
not
está
in the people.
en las personas.
You have to
Hay que
listen to
escuchar a la
wisdom in order
sabiduría
for you
para
to
que
understand
ustedes
very well.
entiendan. Bien.
I hope
Mejor
that
que
is
sea
very clear, that
muy
concept.
clarito ese concepto.
16.
16.
So 15 says, My son, walk not thou in the way with them, refrain thy foot from their path. Perfectly well translated. We don't need to translate anything. 16.
16.
For their feet
Porque sus
run
pies
to evil.
corren hacia el mal.
It is very clear.
Bien clarito. Cualquier persona que tenga este
Any
mal
person that
vivir
has
en
this
todos
way
los
of
aspectos,
leaving,
sus
their
pies
feet run
corren
to
hacia el
evil,
mal,
and you
y tú
cannot
no
be
puedes
in
estar
those
en esa
paths because
vereda
you'll go
porque
to
vas a ir
evil.
al mal. Y van
And they
presurosos
haste
a
to shed
derramar
blood.
sangre. Y lo
And
más
the most
interesante
important
que
thing that Solomon
Salomón
says
dice que
that
la
the
sangre
blood
que
that they
tenían
end
que
up
derramar es la de ellos mismos.
pouring out is their own.
Porque en vano se tenderá la red
Surely in
ante
vain the
los
nest
ojos
is
de
spread
toda
in the sight of any
ave.
bird. It says
Dice,
it is
"Es
senseless
sin
to try
sentido
to put up a
tratar de poner
snare
una red
and
que las
for
aves te
the
miren. No
birds
saben, no te
to see
tienen
you.
que
I'm
mirar.
not an
No soy
expert with
experto en
that.
eso,
I don't
no
know
sé,
if it is
probablemente
so or
sí, quizás
not.
sí.
Maybe
Quizás
there are nets,
hay redes transparentes. Pero
but the nets in their time,
dice
since
que
the
si el
bird would
pájaro
see
te
you,
veía,
he wouldn't fall
ya
into
no
the
caía en la
snare.
red. Tenías que,
He had to
tenía
not
que
see you
verte
in
para
order
que
for the
venga el pájaro
bird to come and fall into
entre
the
en la
snare.
red.
Because
Porque
he
si
sees
te
you
ve
with
la
the
red,
net, he
se
would not
acerca.
come near.
Ahora
Now
hay
there
redes
are
casi
nets that are
transparentes,
almost transparent, I
pero en
understand.
esa
But back in
época
that time,
lo
I
tomo
take it
como lo que lo escribió
for
Salomón.
what Solomon
Miren lo que dice la
wrote.
Jerusalén
In the
2001.
Jerusalem 2001
Dice,
says,
pues es inútil tender redes a la vista de los
it is
pájaros.
no good to
Y
put
la diosa habla hoy
a snare
dice,
in the eyes of the
aunque
bird.
no vale la pena tender una trampa si los pájaros
If the
pueden
birds can
verla,
see the
por
snare,
supuesto.
it's no where
No
they
son
will
tan
stay away.
tontos los
Of course, the
pájaros.
birds are not so
Entonces,
stupid.
pero dice,
This is the
los
birds
pájaros
that see the
que
snare,
ven
they
la
don't
red
fall.
no caen,
And these
estos
criminals
criminales,
or
o en
anything
todo
that
lo
I
que yo
mentioned,
dije,
they
van
make haste
peligrosos
to fall into the
a
snare.
caer en la red.
If you
tú
allow
dejas que tu
your
hija de
16-year-old
16
daughter,
años,
14-year-old
14
daughter
años,
to be dating,
tenga noviecito,
she'll be
que
get
va a
left
quedar
pregnant. There's
embarazada,
no
no queda, no hay
doubt of
otra.
there's no turn of the
queda
page.
otra, ¿eh?
And
Y
if
si
she
se
marries
casa
that guy,
con ese,
I don't
no
think
creo
they'll
ni
get
que se
along
lleven bien
later.
después.
Some of you will say,
Algunos
"Oh,
van a
get
decir,
married
"Yo
at
me casé
16,
a
I
los
get along."
16, me llevo
Yeah,
bien. Sí,
tell
me
the
llevas
truth.
bien,
Do you get
decían,
along,
¿te llevas bien?
or
O
you
te llevas- Pero para
do you get along
mal, o te llevas mal. Sé sincero.
in a very bad way? Be honest. I know there's exceptions, of course.
Porque si hay
If there was
justo
love
había
there, then
amor,
that's fine.
funcionó.
Okay,
Ok.
18. 18.
18.
But
Pero
they
ellos a su propia
set
sangre
ambush
ponen acechanza.
to their own blood.
Es una trampa.
These criminals, in this case, in every case, the drunkards, the drug addicts, fornicators, people that are of an ill life, they set a trap to their own snare. Actually, that's why you have to flee from those people. You have bad friends, for them to stop. You should not have only one bad friend. Also, he's not a friend. Don't say I have a bad friend. No, no. Why do you have him as a friend? It has to be a good friend, or else they should not be your friend. Don't say I have bad friends. They're no longer your friends. If you want to be wise, that is. Then, if you don't want to be wise, then do whatever. 18, but they, to their own selves, their own blood, lay a snare. Look at how it says in the Spanish DHH, those men set an ambush to themselves. They set ambush for themselves. They are trying to get themselves killed. They trying to ambush others. You see how they are trying to snare other. What do? They snare themselves. They want to pour blood and kill others. What they don't know is that their end is that they're killing themselves. And all this is summed up in one word: covetousness. Solomon explained all this, and now he sums it up in one word. That's why love of money is not the origin or the base of all evil. What does the text say? Love of money is what? It is the root. It is not love of money, unless you were to say covetousness. And it is not covetousness of money or whatever thing. Covetousness of a woman or property. Well, it's money, but it could be. So the love of money is not the root of all evil. Covetousness is the root of all evil. So then Solomon says that they, by trying to earn an unjust earning by killing, they kill themselves. The snare that they want to throw upon others, that they do it, they don't know that in the end of it all, they do it upon themselves. Why? Here, number 18. Such are the paths of everything that goes into covetousness. It is very clear, everything that was spoken of is covetousness. Covetousness makes you to earn unjust things. It makes you desire things that you don't have. And if you don't act, you'll be a wretched fool either way, because covetousness eats you up. It is an evil that the Messiah does not have. If you have covetousness in your heart, you have to start to fight to unroot covetousness. I don't have another word. It's the best one. To unroot it. Covetousness cannot exist in our heart. It cannot. If you covet being the Messiah, then you cannot ever be. The group of human beings that were chosen to be the Messiah, they didn't ask for it, nor did they look for it, and they understand. They understand that if it's not them, there's no one. It's kind of like they say, if I didn't do it, there's no one to do it. No one. The charge is given to another, they destroy the whole creation. If you covet a position, you're not in the correct place, or you have to correct your own covetousness. We don't covet anything. Not even the very least. Such are the paths of everyone that goes into covetousness. What a spectacular phrase. What does covetousness do? it
la vida
taketh the
de
life
sus
of the
poseedores.
owners thereof,
Pero no solamente
not
quita la
just the
vida
real life
real
that
que
they
dejan de
stop
existir,
existing, because that's what
porque
is
eso es
precisely what
justamente lo
Solomon
que
says.
dice
It's also
Salomón.
saying
También está diciendo
that it
que
takes
quita
the
la
life of
vida de sus
its
poseedores.
possessors, that they have
Ya
no
no
more life.
tienen vida. Cuando uno codicia, está
When you
tan
covet,
enfermo de la codicia que
you're
perdió
so
la
sick of
felicidad,
covetousness,
perdió
you've
la vida
lost,
misma.
there's
No
no
tiene sentido
sense,
porque
because
viven
you
una
live a
vida
life
de no felicidad. En un estado de
of
ánimo
a
no
state
feliz.
that is unhappy, because
Porque la codicia
covetousness
te va
will submerge you
sumergiendo
in the
el
desire of
deseo de
obtaining
obtener
something.
algo, y
Since
que
you don't
cuando no
obtain
lo
it, you're not
obtenés,
happy.
no sos feliz.
Do you understand what I'm
¿Entienden
saying?
lo que estoy diciendo?
It
Te
takes
quita
the
la
life
vida.
from you, the real
La
life
vida real
and
y
the
la vida
life that you
que
live.
vivís.
Takes it away.
Te la quita.
This
Este
text,
texto, para
to
todos
all
aquellos
those
que
that want to be
quieren ser
wise,
sabios, se los tienen
you have to
que
record
grabar
it
de memoria.
by memory.
Tales son las
Such
sendas
are
de
the
todo
paths
el
of
que es
all
dado a la
that are
codicia,
given
la
to
cual
greed,
quita
which
la
taketh
vida
the life
de sus
from its
poseedores.
owners.
Se
I'll
los
read it to
leo
you in
en
the
la
New Living
NTV.
Translation.
Así terminan
Such is
todos
the fate
los
of
que
all who
codician
are
el
greedy
dinero.
for
El
money.
dinero no está,
Is
sino
not
los
money,
que
but those
que
who
codician.
are
Así
greedy.
terminan todos los que codician.
The word money is not
Esa
there.
codicia
That greed
les
robs
roba
them
la
of
vida.
life.
Está
It is
claro.
clear.
No
It does not exist,
existe,
nor
ni
will there
nunca
ever
va a
exist
existir
in the
en
Messiah
el Mesías
people
los
that are
codiciosos.
covetous. They won't
No van a
exist.
existir.
Are
Hay
they
reyes
covetous
codiciosos,
kings?
claro
Yes,
que
of
sí,
course.
se
You
lo
can
ve
clearly
claramente.
see it. They oppress the
Oprimen al
people,
pueblo, son
and they're a disaster. That's how they end up. But in the
Pero en el
Messiah,
Mesías, en el
in the Parakletos, the
el
Parakletos is not
no es
covetous.
codicioso,
It is
es
a
un
defender.
defensor.
Primordially, the
Primordialmente, el
Messiah,
Mesías no viene
it does not come to
para
obtain
obtener
power,
poder,
because he
porque
covets power. No,
codicia
no,
el
not the
poder.
very
No,
least.
más mínimo.
He
Viene
comes to
para
defend
defender la
humanity.
humanidad.
So then,
Entonces,
all
todos
those
aquellos
who
que
covet a
codician
position,
una
they will not
no
obtain
la
it.
van a obtener.
They will
Van a
obtain
obtener
all the
todo lo
contrary.
contrario.
Today,
Hoy
learn
aprendan,
and let it be
quede
clear
claro,
that
que la
covetousness
codicia les
takes
quita la
life
vida.
away.
Y
and
jamás
You'll never be
van
a
a ser
part of the
parte del
Messiah if you're
Mesías si
covetous.
son codiciosos. La codicia hay que
Greed has to be
exterminarla.
exterminated.
Y la codicia
Greed
es
is
que te ponga mal,
that it makes you feel bad for a friend,
que un amigo,
for
que
your
tu hermano,
brother or
o
your
que tu
lineage to be of the
linaje
eternal
sea de la
truth, or
verdad
whatever
eterna,
other
cualquier otro
of
de tu
your
familia,
family, to have
tenga
something,
algo
and it
que te
makes you
haga
feel
poner
bad because
mal
they
por
have
lo
it.
que
That
tienes.
is
Eso es
covetousness.
codicia.
If the
Si
other,
el otro,
whatever they
sea
are,
quien sea,
has more money
tiene
than
más
you,
dinero que tú,
they bought a better
compró
car
un auto mejor que tú,
than yours,
se
married
casó
a
con un esposo o una esposa
better
mejor que
wife
tú
or
o la
husband than
tuya.
yours, and
Y
everything
todo
in
en la
life
vida le
is
va bien y
goes
a
well
ti te
with
va
you,
mal,
and everything is
y
bad with
tú
you, and you
lo
covet that,
codicias.
you're
Tú
not a
no
part of
eres
the
parte
Messiah.
del Mesías.
You have
Y
to work
tienes
on
que
that.
trabajar en eso. Solamente
It can
puede
only
despertar
awaken
alegría
joy for the
que el
other
otro
to have something better
tenga
than
algo
you.
mejor que tú.
You have
Ellos
to
lo tienen que trabajar
all work
todos.
on that. And
Y
Latin
los
Americans
latinos
are more
son
than
más
covetous.
que codiciosos.
More than
Más
covetous.
que codiciosos.
If your
Si tu
brother
hermano
buys
se
a
compra un
better car
auto
than
mejor que
yours,
el tuyo,
you have
tú te
to
tienes que
be
alegrar por ese
joyful
auto
for that,
casi como si
even
fuera tuyo.
as if it were yours.
Alegrar. ¿Te alegras por eso?
Do you get joy? You say, what a son of a bitch.
Puta, ese auto el que yo quería.
What goes
¿Y
through
qué
your
es lo que
mind?
pasa por tu mente?
What happens
¿Qué es lo que ocurre
in your
por tu
mind?
mente?
If you see that I have a spectacular house and you
una
don't have
casa
it, what happens
espectacular
through
y
your
tú no
house,
tienes,
through
¿qué
your
pasa por tu
mind?
mente?
If your brother buys a
Si tu
house
hermano
and
se
you
compra una
can't,
casa y tú
what
no
happens through your
puedes, ¿qué
mind?
pasa por tu
He
mente?
has a
Si haces un
business, the same one
negocio,
that you're
el
doing,
mismo que estás
and both
haciendo
of you
tú,
go out,
y los dos
and you
salen,
that are of the
y
eternal
tú,
truth,
que eres de la verdad
everything
eterna,
is dog
sale
shit,
todo mal para el traste.
and your brother
Y
that is
tu
not of the
hermano,
eternal
que
truth,
no es
everything
la verdad
is
eterna,
well
le
from
fue
you
re
covet that?
bien, lo codicias.
You say, why does
Tú
everything
dices, ¿por
go
qué
well
le
with
va
him and
bien
everything
y
is
a
bad
él y
with
a
me?
mí me
That
va
right
mal?
there,
Ya, eso,
that right there is
ya
to
eso.
have
Es
greed.
codicia.
To tell you
Decirle,
why is
¿por
everything
qué
well
a
with
él
him,
le va bien y a
that
mí
is
me va
to
mal?
have
Eso es
greed.
codicia.
That is to have greed.
Eso es codicia. Es más, si
If
tú te
you
alegras,
are joyful,
claro,
what I'm going to say now,
lo que voy a decir ahora
it's not going to make
en su
sense in
mente
your
no va a
mind,
tener sentido,
but it is the
pero
truth.
es la verdad.
It is the eternal truth.
Es la
If
verdad.
you
Si
were
tú
to
te
be
alegras
joyful for
por
everything that your
todo lo
brother
que tiene
has,
tu prójimo,
that very same luck would
esa
come to
misma
you.
suerte viene a ti.
That same lot would come to you.
¿Sabes
Do you know
por
why
qué?
everything is
A ti
bad
te ha ido mal
with you, and because you
en muchos
are
aspectos.
not of those that are joyful with those that things go well with them,
No eres de los que
but you
se
become
alegra
bitter.
al que
That
le va bien,
greed is what
sino se amarga.
throws you down.
Esa codicia es
That
lo que
greed
te
is the
tira
one that
para
has
abajo,
you
la frase argentina.
tied to misery.
Esa
That
codicia
covetousness
es la
is
que
the
te
one that
tiene
doesn't
atado a la
allow
miseria.
you to put the tithe,
Esa
none
codicia es la
whatsoever.
que no
I'm
te
going to
deja poner el diezmo.
give the tithe
No
to
te
this or
alegra
whatever.
poner el diezmo.
It have to be
Para
crazy.
nada. ¿Cómo voy a poner a ese
It is
tipo
the
o
one
lo
that
que
ties
sea,
you.
ni loco?
That is a
Esa
secret
codicia
that
es la
I
que
mean
te tiene atado
millenary.
en tu lugar.
It is very clear. If you
Ese es un
start
secreto pero
to
milenario, muy claro. Si tú
uh,
te empiezas a alegrar por la
enjoy
suerte del otro,
because of
no
the
alegrarnos
good
por
lot
la
of the
falla,
other, and you enjoy, wow,
alegrar
how
por la
difficult is
buena
what I'm
suerte
asking,
del
and you
otro,
enjoy
y disfrutas,
that
wow,
everything
qué
goes well
bien
with
que
the
te
other,
vaya
to
bien.
say, wow,
Y tú
how beautiful
disfrutas
it is.
que al
I'm
otro
so
le vaya
joyful
tan
for him to
bien.
go well.
Y decir, wow,
My
qué
neighbor, my
lindo,
brother,
me alegra que le vaya
that
bien
one
al
right
otro,
there.
a mi vecino,
Wow, how beautiful.
a mi hermano, a aquel
There's a
que,
physical law
wow, qué lindo.
that it comes from Elohim.
Hay
When
una ley
you
física
become joyful for another,
que es de lógica.
that lot
Cuando
of
tú
the
te
other comes to
alegras
you.
por el
Do you know
otro,
why it doesn't come to you?
esa suerte
Because
del
you
otro viene a ti.
covet it.
¿Sabes por qué no viene a ti?
And when you covet it,
Porque tú
it is the contrary effect of the law. The contrary
Y
comes to
cuando
you.
lo
The more you covet, the
es
less
el
you have,
efecto
until you
contrario.
die.
Viene lo
You
contrario.
die
Mientras
spiritually,
más codicias, menos
your
tienes.
joy
Hasta
dies,
que te
and
mueres.
your life dies.
Te
It
mueres
is
espiritualmente,
this, even the
tu
Jews know
alegría se
this.
muere y tu vida
This
se
is
muere.
a secret like
Esta-
this. The day that
esto
you
hasta los judíos
are
lo saben.
joyful for the rest,
Este es un secreto así.
that you're
El
joyful
día que
actually,
te alegres por los
and
demás,
that you break
que te
consciously.
alegres de verdad,
How?
y
Why
que
did he buy
rompas
that?
con
I wanted that.
sientes que
I wanted to have
nunca,
that. The
¿por qué
day
se
that you
compró
change
eso?
that,
Pero si
say,
yo lo
no,
deseaba,
I am joyful
yo
for him.
desearía tener.
I congratulate
Y
him,
en
not
cambio,
just
si eso
him,
diga,
with
no,
words,
me
but in your
alegro,
heart.
me alegro por él y lo
How
felicita.
beautiful. And it goes
No
against your
solamente a
nature.
él de palabras, sino
I was born that way
corazón.
already. I don't have that
Qué
problem.
lindo. Va
But you,
contra tu
every one of you
naturaleza.
has it. I'm
Se
telling
llama
you,
así, así.
in a
Nosotros
greater or
decimos,
less, because I detected it
cada uno de ustedes lo
immediately.
tiene.
You do
Y
have
les
it.
digo, mayor o menor
You have
grado,
it.
yo lo
You have it.
detecto así rápido.
If
Lo
you,
tienen,
if you
lo tienen, ¿eh?
start to
Si
change that,
ustedes
you know how that lot of the other that you covet comes to you. It is a, it's a law.
como esa
and
suerte
absolutely,
del otro que
it's a law.
ustedes codician, viene a ustedes. Esa sí es
What
una
does
ley.
Proverbs say?
Es absolutamente una
That
ley.
is how all
¿Qué dice
end up
Proverbios?
that covet
Así
money. Of
terminan
course, that
todos
covetousness
los que
steals their money,
codician
but
el
if you
dinero.
don't covet
Esa codicia
and
les
you
roba la vida, por supuesto.
in it,
Pero si no codicias y te alegra,
what is the contrary?
en
It
vez de
lengthens your
robarte
life.
la
As the
vida,
scripture says, of
¿qué
course
es
it
lo
says it.
contrario? Te
Of
alarga
course
la
it
vida.
says it.
Lo dice la escritura, claro que lo
Greed
dice,
is your
claro
worst
que lo dice.
defect. It's the
Claro que lo
worst
dice.
defect in humanity,
La
the worst.
codicia es tu
And the
peor
Mashiach does not have
defecto.
greed,
Es el
not the
peor
very
defecto
least.
de la humanidad. El peor. Y el
Let us
Mashiach
go to
no tiene
Proverbs
codicia,
15:27.
que no más mínimo.
I told you 2 hours and
Vamos a
spent 3 hours
Proverbios
already.
15:27.
Can't believe you.
Les dije 2 horas y ya
Wanted to
tengo
watch
3 horas
River
que
and
te puedo
Independiente
creer.
at 2.
Quería
I'm
ver
gonna
el
leave you because
partido
I've told
River
I've given you too
Independiente,
much
creo que es a
already.
las 2.
Until you stop
Sí,
leaving
ya me
greed.
dejaré,
I mean,
pues ya les dimos
Proverbs
mucho. Hasta que-
15:27,
ustedes dejen la
the Spanish
codicia.
DHH says,
Proverbios
greed
15:27,
brings
Dios
grief
habla hoy,
to the whole
dice,
family. Wow, how clear.
el que se da a
Why
la
is your
codicia
house
arruina su
ruined?
propia casa.
Because you're
Wow,
greedy.
qué claro. El que se da a la codicia. ¿Por qué tu casa está arruinada?
If
Porque
things
es
go
un
well with you, it's
codicioso.
because you have
Porque
dominated
si tú
greed.
te dominas las cosas es porque realmente
He that is greed of gain troubleth his own house, but he
el
that
que se da
hateth
la
gifts
codicia
shall
arruina
live.
su propia
Or
casa.
greed, same thing.
Pero el que rechaza
So
el
it's the
soborno
contrary.
vivirá, o la
How do I ruin
codicia
my own house?
vive.
Because of greed.
Entonces es lo
I
contrario.
covet the women,
¿Cómo
I'm
arruino
gonna
mi
ruin my
propia casa por
woman,
la
my
codicia?
life, everything.
Codicio a la
If I
mujer,
covet
codicio
what
mi
the rest
vida,
has,
mi mujer,
now if I
arruina mi vida, arruina todo.
are joyful for what the
Si
others
codicio
have,
lo que
that
tienen los
the,
demás.
the,
Ahora,
the
si me
others have
alegro
comes to
por lo
me.
que tienen los
It is a
demás,
law. It is a law. Habakkuk
eso que tienen los demás viene a mí.
2,
Es una
9 to
ley,
10.
una ley. Habacuc
Habakkuk 2,
2, 9 al 10.
woe unto him that covets
Habacuc 2, 9
an
al 10
unjust
dice, "Ay
gain
del
for his
que
house,
codicia
for his nest, his
injusta
house,
ganancia para su casa, para
To-
poner en alto
to-
su nido, su
to
nido,
run
su
away
casa,
from the power of the evil.
para escaparse
You
del
have
poder del mal,
been bought
Tomaste consejo vergonzoso
In other words,
para tu
destruction
casa,
comes.
asolaste muchos
Every time you
pueblos,
covet,
es pecado contra
destruction
tu
comes.
vida.
It
O
is a
sea,
law
te viene destrucción.
that is
Cada vez que
unbreakable.
codicias, viene
You covet,
destrucción. Es una ley.
you bring evil upon you. You covet a lot of evil upon you. You covet a little, well, evil comes a little bit. You don't covet and you are joyful for the rest, all the luck comes upon you. Proverbs 28:16. Proverbs 28:16. Spanish DHH says,
Proverbios 28:16. Dios habla hoy, dice. ¿Y saben por qué les leo en
Do you know why I
Dios
read in
habla
the
hoy?
Spanish
Porque
DHH?
a veces
Because sometimes they will
cambian la
change
palabra
the word
codicia por avaricia, que no es avaricia,
covetousness
es
for
codicia,
greed.
porque avaricia,
Because the concept is
cambia el
different.
concepto.
That's why
por eso
the original
la
word
palabra
says
original
covetousness.
dice codicia. Proverbios
Spanish
28:16,
DHH says,
Dios habla hoy, dice, el gobernante insensato aumenta la opresión, pero el que no es
the prince
codicioso
that wanteth understanding is also a great oppressor, but he that hateth covetousness shall prolong his days. The covetous, his days are short. What do you have to work on to be wise? And a king and a Mashiach, you have to work on not being covetous and to always be joyful for the rest on a permanent basis. Nothing that the rest get has to move even to a feeling or a bad emotion. If a bad emotion moves you because of the riches of the other, then you bring bad vibes into your life. Now, if you see the richness of the rest, now it's so contrary to humanity, but many have discovered this, and it's in the Bible. Many have discovered this, and they've said, I don't know why I have such good luck, because you're not covetous. You're not covetous. The day that you stop being covetous and greedy and you are joyful, the more that you are happy for others, that luck comes to your life. Wow, how I give you secrets. I give you secrets like a fucking mother, like no one else. Like no one else. You have to say it that way? Yes. If you don't like it, then go wash your ass. But wash the covetousness. Wash the covetousness away. You have to. We didn't even get to the text of the invitation. It'll be for next week, Leslie. Okay, once again, that text, which is marvelous. But I've extended already in this instruction due to all the previous texts. So then, last text that I'll read that I love, Psalms 72. I shall open my mouth in Proverbs. I shall speak hidden things since ancient times. Marvelous. This is a proverb, what we've spoken of today about covetousness. Our Father that art in heaven, we give you thanks for this so precious day of Shabbat of instruction. I ask you that this message arrive in the deepest of this heart of everyone that has to listen to this message, and for it to do its work of taking away and unrooting greed, so that they may enjoy of a wide harvest. You have a blessing that is so great, but greed stops them, because there is a law there that the greed, they destroy their own life. But those that are happy for the rest, they get that same law. They've learned that instruction. Remind them of that they may learn to not be covetous and greedy, because your Mashiach is one whole heart that is not greedy, but it is kindness and joy for everyone of their chosen and defended. I thank you for all this in your precious name, YHWH, our only Elohim and husband. Alleluia. Semper Fi. Let the laurels be eternal that we knew how to achieve. Crowned with glory, let us live. Long live the Argentum bride of Yahweh. Hallelujah to every one of you. We shall meet again, if Yahweh allows it, next Shabbat. Do not forget to comment. Do not forget, don't be greedy, and be joyful for this message. And I expect your likes and comments, hallelujah, to every one of you.